We're live. Hello, FPL managers. We are here for the Super Sunday clash. It's Liverpool versus Man City. I'm joined by Seb and Toby. Seb, first, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. I'm good, although it'd be better if FPL didn't exist sometimes.
Yeah, me too. I'm having just one of those weeks where I'm trying to bury my head in it, in the sand a bit, and I'm not even checking stuff like overall rank. There's no point till Monday night. But yeah,
I'm kind of leaning on the fact that if I wildcard next week, it's fine. I can just forget poor decisions this week. I got to go again.
yeah.
So it's a big temptation.
I'm going to ask you in a bit actually about kind of now you're creating content and doing stuff with Scout. Does it make these weeks slightly more difficult? 'Cause it certainly has for me this season. But yeah, Tobes, how are you doing? You're having a good week with Son. Son captain today was inspired.
Yeah, unlike you, I've been checking my rank all day. Spent all day on livefpl.net looking at those extra 2 bonus points from Son. But yeah, no, good. Having an okay week. Obviously, Son captain has helped that massively. And yeah, looking forward to this game today. A lot of players in action.
Yeah, loads in this game, and there's no big surprises really in the lineups. I mean, Mane returns for Liverpool is the headline. In the City lineup, it's as you'd expect. All those that thought a surprise that Jesus isn't playing well. Here's some news, guys. Jesus misses out on a lot of big games for Man City. He's certainly not got the trust of Guardiola. We don't know who's going to be false nine today, or maybe we shouldn't say false nine. Sometimes it's a nine, sometimes it's a false nine. We should all probably discuss that, and let's have a little bet here. We can pick one player who we think is going to be the number nine. Now, obviously, it's a very fluid system, and whoever looks like they're number nine in the first 5 minutes might not continue there. But if you could pick one player only. I'm going to ask you first, Seb. I'm going to be third, right? Little edge there. So, Seb, I'll come to you first. Who's going to be the number nine for City in the first 5 minutes of the game?
Between Mahrez and Sterling, I will go Mahrez.
Okay. Tobes?
My immediate reaction was Sterling, but I'm also going to throw a left wing shout in there and say Bilver. Bilver could have a go.
Ooh, okay. So you're on Bilver. Seb's going Mahrez. Mika Richards thinks Foden. He's just said that 5 minutes ago. I'm absolutely gobsmacked by that. Yeah.
He's been left wing all season, no matter what, basically.
Absolutely nailed on the left. I'm going Sterling for one reason only. We know Foden will play left. We know Mahrez will play right. There's only one space left. It's Sterling all day long. Give me the quid. Give me the quid.
We'd all be very happy if it was Gundogan, right?
Oh, we would love that. But yeah, this has got Gundogan number 8 written all over it. And Bilver, I think Bilver in the middle. We've got MC Moyes thinking Foden's going to be false 9. David's with me on Sterling. Justin is a cheat for FPL, says LR. Yes, you're right. Any Justin owners here? Tobes, you've not had him all season. Seb, you've not either. No, you had him early on.
Yeah, I started with him and then subbed him out for Ricardo Pereira when he was fit in Gameweek 8. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I do remember that, and he's still kind of not.
He started today. I think he started last match as well, but only the odd 20 weeks late or something.
I kind of feel like I've missed the boat on Justin. It's got that long into it. His price has risen so much that, I mean, he's obviously still a great shout, probably even at that price. But yeah, I just feel like I've massively missed the boat.
You have, but it's never too late, Tobes. And
well, I do have a plan.
The same about Souček.
Yeah, true. I do have a plan. He's probably coming in for me in 26, but less because I want Justin and more because I want Kane. And I think Cresswell is going to be my make weight, and Justin's a little bit cheaper and will allow me to go DCL to Kane in 26.
Jeez, is that the difference for you to go DCL to Kane? You need to go Cresswell to Justin because there can't be much in that. You must be like 0.4 short or something.
Yeah, 0.3. There's not a lot in it, but yeah, that to me looks like the move.
Okay, fair. Teams are coming out at Anfield. What are our predictions today, gents? I mean, we've got Alisson back. Centre-back pairing, we thought Kozak might come in. Liverpool have bought 2 centre-backs. One of them is got a bit of pedigree from Schalke, Kozak. I think it's a loan with an option to buy at 18 million. Yeah. He's still gone with Hendo at centre-back and Fabinho. To be fair, they've done all right, haven't they, Seb, those two? They've looked pretty good. But do we miss Hendo in the middle?
I think they missed both of them in the middle, right? That's 2 of their best central midfielders playing at centre-back. I think Fabinho's been awesome at centre-back. He could probably play that for a lot of clubs, a lot of top clubs.
And he did at Monaco for a bit.
Indeed, he played right back as well, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And took penalties. But yeah, I mean, it's not what they would choose, is it? You'd have Van Dijk, you'd have Matip, or even a new signing there. So it's still not their strongest defence. It'd be hard not to see City scoring today.
And prediction?
Oh, go 2-1 City.
Nice. Tobes, what are you thinking?
Yeah, that was going to be my prediction as well. So I feel like I've got to change it now, and I'm going to go 3-1 City. I think one of the interesting things to me is like Curtis Jones getting the nod in the centre of the park. And I know that's probably more down to the fact that Liverpool haven't really got a whole host of other options to play in there. He possibly could have brought in a different centre back and pushed Hendo into midfield.
And the Ox is on the bench. I mean, Ox will be looking at that going, great, good to know I am in the pecking order.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a big day for Curtis Jones. I think you'll probably learn quite a lot about him as a player, not so much as an FPL asset, but the kind of player he is, the kind of character he is. But yeah, I just think City are by far and away the best team in the league this year, and I think it'll be I don't think it'll be a comfortable City win. I could see it being quite tight until the last 20 and it being a 2-1, 3-1 game.
Oh, guys, Sky are just giving their sort of lineups. Whatever they've got as the number 9, I guarantee it'll be wrong. Okay, no, they've got the midfield 3 as Bilva, Rodri, and Gundogan. That's accurate. I'm with them on that. And they're gonna go. Oh, they've gone with Mika Richards as Foden number 9, Sterling left, where he actually hasn't played much recently, despite it being his best position, and Mahrez right.
Yeah, I think that's the one it won't be. Like Mahrez played false 9. Was it a couple of matches ago?
Yeah.
When Sterling was playing, which is why I've gone for Mahrez. But if without that information, I'd agree with you, Sterling. I only went Mahrez because they did it recently. I think the one it probably really isn't going to be is Foden, because also Foden up against Trent Alexander-Arnold. I know who's winning that battle. Why would they change that?
Yeah, I think I can remember this season probably 5 different Man City players playing number 9, maybe even 6 or 7 if you include Gundogan and KDB. Foden ain't one of them. Yeah. I can't. We've seen them all there, but we haven't seen Foden there. My prediction is...
Watch it be Foden now, and there's a reason Mika's paid for that, and we're not.
And you'd think Mika Richards has got the inside line. Yeah, I'm going 1-0 City. I think it's going to be tight. I think we're going to have a lot of upset FPL managers with City defenders on their bench. But,
It's amazing to think that we've got a very real opportunity here of seeing Liverpool lose 3 times at Anfield in the space of a month when they haven't gone
3 games.
Yeah, 3 losses in three games, having not lost there for 4 years. That would be unbelievable if that happened.
Yeah, I heard some chat in the week. Oh, it's because the fans aren't in the stadium. Come on, all teams rely on fans. In Liverpool, no more so than anyone else. Yeah, you might have a little dip, but not to go. Okay, we can have 2 in 2 when we've not lost in 4 years. I'm not buying it.
I'll tell you, he's been very lucky there haven't been any fans in the stadium. Is Jose Mourinho? Jesus Christ, the level of booing and. I don't know. They're not filling that stadium playing that type of football at the moment.
I dread to think the state of Kane's ankles now after playing today, because the number of injections he would have had in there to roll him out today. Mourinho needed it to save his skin, but shame he can't rest him a few more days because he feels like he needs Kane for West Brom. But we'll speak a little bit about Spurs in a bit. The game's kicked off. What timestamps are we on, guys? Seb, I'll come to you first. You're usually slightly ahead.
I've got 24, 25, 26, so I think you're ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm winning by a couple of seconds.
Go on, what you on?
So 34, 35, 36.
Get in.
Are you winning?
I will be your commentator today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on 49, 50, 51, 52. Oh, I'm very excited.
It's not nice though that we're all pretty similar. Normally we're like 90 seconds apart, so that's good.
Interesting to note there in the first few seconds that Foden kicked off, by the way, so maybe he is up front. But Mane coming back, they immediately pressed City very high and very hard, trying to win early before they got their rhythm going, have now maybe dropped off a little bit, but you could see Mane leading that press once again. You can see how important he is to them.
Yeah,
I think it is Foden 9 as well. he's very central.
Yeah.
Sign us up now, Sky. Sign us up now.
As I'm watching the front 3 at City sort of press the ball with Alisson on the ball at the moment, it's a very clear Sterling left, Foden 9. And we said we'd give it to I'm glad that wasn't tweeted. I guess we'll go with Foden number 9 for the time being, although it's very fluid.
It's going to move. I think I'd be surprised not to have Foden up against Trent. I think he's been very good in that left wing position in the last few matches, and we know Trent isn't the best defender.
Gundogan is not looking comfortable here.
That is a meaty tackle that's just gone in on Gundogan. It's one of those where you can tell, just watching the replay of it here, you're going to see him get absolutely clattered by Thiago.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, you see his ankle get trapped between the floor and good. It's not like malicious from Thiago. It's just you see his ankle. It's one of those where
I think he's off. I think he's going to go.
Doesn't look good for him.
Michael Oliver's called over for treatment. Gundogan's not the type that stays down. It's either going to be a substantial amount of treatment and then you're questioning him all game, or No, he doesn't look happy. I'm looking at his face now. Gundogan's not looking happy.
On Saturday morning, I had DCL starting over Gundogan.
Oh, shit.
I had a little look at my stats, and I mean, obviously Liverpool decent, but moved it back just because I thought DCL wouldn't get anything against United, and I thought Gundogan would be more likely to be involved if City scored. Whoops.
So is he definitely not coming off your bench, DCL, this game week?
No, I need someone in for Dyer, but obviously I've only got 3 defenders, so that'll be John Stones.
Okay, he's up. He's standing, struggling to put weight on it, but he's standing and didn't go off the pitch for treatment, which is... Oh, he doesn't look happy, but he is walking. One that he's going to think he can run off, but again, you're worrying for him now for the rest of the game. Thiago put one in on him.
That is that's like a bit of experience from Thiago, isn't it? It's like a big game, central midfield. Put one, they always say in Sunday League, don't they? Let him know you're there, and he's let him know he's there, and I mean, to be fair, I don't actually think it was that bad of a tackle. It was just a bit unfortunate how his leg kind of got trapped, but yeah. Anyway. Yeah,
we'll be on Gundogan watch for now just to see how he's moving. But he looks all right. He's playing left of a midfield 3. Those two would have played against each other quite a lot, I'd have thought, in Germany. Dortmund versus PSG, little mini rivalry there. Mane winning the ball on the edge of the area. Mane started the game really lively in terms of press. Seb, you commented on that and how that's sort of so key to the Liverpool system. If that front 3 doesn't have one of Mane, Salah, Firmino, do we often see it short of ideas, Seb?
Yeah, I think so. I know we saw Jota doing a good job for Firmino more often than not early in the season. So maybe he's the one that could be dropped at the moment, although we know historically how important Firmino has been for them. But I think Mane... It's clear to see, right, how useful he is for Liverpool as a both attacking and pressing asset.
Yeah. He looks like he's moving all right, Gundogan.
Yeah. I think from the angle it happened, his ankle kind of went inwards, right, more so than outwards, which I tend to think is always a little bit better. It kind of limits the range of like ligament damage you can get from a tackle like that. And yeah, he is moving quite freely. I think he's going to be okay.
Between the two of us, Tobes, we've had some dreadful ankles over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, the size of my right ankle is about twice the size of my left ankle. It's the ligaments in it. But having said that, which is a weird, I know this is really like anecdotal evidence for like Harry Kane's ankles, but the more ligament damage you do to your ankles, the more kind of elasticated they become, and almost the harder it is to keep doing them, if that sort of makes sense. And I do remember reading someone who's obviously got some kind of physio level experience that does say like your ligaments do become a little bit more elasticated with scar tissue, I think.
Okay, because
that surprises me. I would have thought it was the opposite, but hey, fair enough.
Mine's terrible and it goes really easily. But Tobes, I wonder if it's maybe still just as easy to do, if not easier to keep the same ankle going over and over. But maybe you come back from it quicker because they're more elastic. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I think going back to what we were saying earlier, I just don't think the injury that Kane got a couple of weeks ago, it just wasn't that bad. Like in comparison to other ankle injuries he's had, he just got knocks on him. He didn't roll them. He didn't like do any serious damage. And
I mean, he played on for 20 minutes, didn't he? He gave it a good go. So we knew it was. I mean, Kane will try and play on. That's just the nature of how he plays. But yeah, the fact he managed 20 minutes on them suggests it wasn't going to be that bad.
Exactly.
Speaking of injuries, we still don't know when KDB is going to return. It was original prognosis there was 4 to 6 weeks. He's probably on week 3 of that now. So with double game weeks in mind, we are looking at KDB. Are either of you guys looking at a route back to how you get him, or we're all on Gundogan, right? Are we going to stick with Gundogan because he's half the price and still offers a bit of threat? Seb, you've got a take on this?
On my wildcard, I might go Sterling, mostly because it holds funds for KDB. Yeah. Of course, you could have Gundogan and hold those funds just in the bank, but it feels a little easier to hold it in an expensive player and just be able to do that one switch. So I'm tempted. I really want KDB back. Obviously, I want him to be fit, and if I'm wildcarding before he is fit, I just need to have a plan for that.
Yeah. I feel like I will do what it takes to try and get him back, and that might not be at the cost of Gundogan. It might be that I keep a Diaz or a Cancelo at the back, and because I've got Stones, I don't have Diaz. I'm just a little bit worried with all the fixtures coming in and the Champions League that we're going to see Laporte playing a few more games in the Premier League. And the first choice pairing is obviously Stones and Diaz, but I think the Champions League will become a priority. And therefore, Stones might miss a few games. And I just go, do you know what? There's some difficult fixtures. I'll go with Gundogan and KDB as well as Cancelo. Cancelo's staying because the upside's huge.
With KDB back, though, do you not think Gundogan is more likely to get a rest than he has been at the moment?
Yeah, I think he will get inevitably a rest, but I think he's one of the first names on the team sheet and so important. I think it will be Bernardo Silva's minutes massively drop rather than Gundogan's. And we see today, Gundogan playing left of the three in the midfield. You know, KDB comes into the right. Those two complement each other really well. Before KDB's injury, Gundogan was still looking really sharp. All those that were looking at the numbers to bring Gundogan in, those numbers were spiking 3 or 4 weeks before that KDB injury.
Oh, indeed. I just think in terms of, if you're talking about Stones being important to them, I think Gundogan's important to them too, probably more important. But the thing they have at the moment is Laporte, therefore they can drop Stones. I don't think they can drop Gundogan at the moment just because of that playmaker role. We know the specific Pauser thing he has, but just the playmaker in the side. With KDB back, I wonder if that's just easier to drop Gundogan than it is at the moment, and thus he's maybe closer to the rotation risk of Stones.
Yeah.
Not saying he's on par with Bernardo Silva.
Yeah. The problem is, Tobes, is if we're making funds for Kane, who's just come back, then how do we make funds for KDB as well?
This is the thing, and I think the answer to that is probably no. And it's really difficult, isn't it, to make a plan when we don't really have any news on KDB's fitness. Like part of me, looking at it now, City have the greatest likelihood to blank, don't they? I think in 29. I think they're almost certainly going to, because I think they need to lose to Swansea in the Cup for them not to. And my plan broadly is to be wildcarding in 30. And I'm kind of wondering, can I hold off on KDB until my wildcard in game week 30? But then if we hear that KDB is now fit in game week 25 or 26, you're missing out on 2 double game weeks of Kevin De Bruyne, who's going to play 180 minutes probably across both of those. And that's a big, big risk. But yeah, equally, you could also argue coming back from a big-ish injury, is he going to play? He's probably not going to play 180 minutes across both those double game weeks. A part of me at the moment is thinking, do I try my best to hold off until game week 30 to bring him in, hoping that actually he's injured for as long as possible so no one else can have him, basically.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I can't see how I'm easily going to get to him if I'm not on a wild card. And again, if I was on a wild card like you now, Seb, going Sterling makes absolute complete sense, because you could stick with Gundogan, but you know that having 5 million in the bank for a few weeks might force your hand into other moves. If you go Sterling, you haven't got that option, which in a way is quite nice, because then when you do need to go KDB, it's there ready for you.
I mean, yeah, I was looking at the wildcard last night, and the options are kind of this week, 24 or 25. I think I will do 24, even though it makes planning a bit harder, simply because it puts me in a much better position for 25. Despite having an okay team, I'd probably be a couple of players short of the 5 or 6 doubles that other people will have. But really, even looking, I use that, the tool where you can like plan forward and build a little spreadsheet like you, Gianni. So see if it goes well for me. But I was looking forward to the weeks ahead. And at some point, when I want maybe Fernandes, Salah, one of the Tottenham boys, KDB, but also still want my 3 cheap strikers, it starts getting very hard to have all those players. Never mind price. It's quite hard to have them all with spots in the team. I think we're going to have to make a call over whether we drop a Son or a Kane or a Salah or a Fernandes at some point.
Yeah.
So, Seb, just to clarify there, you're saying you're going to wildcard in 24. What other chips do you have at your disposal currently?
Bench boost and free hit.
Okay, interesting. I don't know that many people that have got all of those 3 chips.
So the reason, I think there's a couple of ways to go for sure. And I think for most people, 25 is probably the better wildcard. For me, 24, because it means I can then save 2 transfers for 26 and use the bench boost in 26, which means I can set myself up nicely. I can take advantage of the doubles in 24 and 25, which my current team, while I quite like my current team in terms of the coming fixtures, it's not as well set up for those doubles. And then I have the free hit to avoid 29. So it just feels like the best upside. It will require the most planning, but I think I can do that.
Is there a worry, like Jan and I discussed it earlier over WhatsApp, free hitting in 29, if it's a really, really small blank, is there a worry that there aren't almost enough players in that double game, in that blank game week, that you're going to fancy to think I'm going to get a reasonable points return out of this lot?
Just won't use it then.
Yeah.
Save it for 38 or something. Another week where there's often big variance and I can take advantage of things that other people might not be able to.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think there will be a huge amount of fixtures, and we'll know more after the FA Cup. And I'm like you said, I'll probably end up not using it because I won't see a big enough upside. I'd rather use the free hit in a double game week where maybe a small double where there's 2 extra fixtures, 4 teams playing twice, and as long as 2 of those teams have good fixtures, then you go, okay, there's 6 players straight away. So I guess it's just evaluating the upside. Seb, going back to your strategy, and by the way, guys, not much is happening in the game. It's although there is a little break on for Liverpool at the moment, but it's slowed down on the halfway line. We've seen no big chances yet. So far, cancelling each other out. Foden's definitely playing number 9. Mane looks lively. Seb, going back to your wild card, if your team is already set up quite nicely for a bench boost in 26, i.e., and if we think the FA Cup goes to plan and you get all those players playing twice as we think will play twice, do you need to wildcard now, or are you doing it purely because you want to maximise 24 and 25? And do you think the doubles in 24 and 25 are good enough?
So me personally, or just in general?
No, you personally, because I'm guessing your team, like most, if it's anywhere near the template, it's going to have quite a good bench boost 26 team anyway.
I'd say it's probably slightly worse than the average. People like Dyer, that others won't still have.
Yeah.
I brought in Alonso this week because, if I'm going to wildcard, I basically got 1 week to use 2 transfers. So I brought in Alonso and Rafinha.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of half expecting Alonso not to play tonight, but I thought upside. We'll see.
He's playing against Sheffield United. Height, strength.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll take that then. But yeah, I think there's probably a few other things I need to sort. And if I don't now, and because I've got the bench boost as well, when would I? Because I want to use that bench boost when I can get... I've got Martinez and DCL on my bench this week, so I could have used it this week, but I didn't know that was going to happen. In terms of trying to predict outcomes, I want to use it in a big double so I can get the most chance of a return from it. So if I don't wildcard and set my team up for a big bench boost in 26, which means what, 11 to 15 doubles?
Yeah.
I don't know when I'd use it.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely sold on the bench boost in 26 because like you, I don't know when I'd use it and I want to get it out of the way. And it's always said using a bench boost and wildcard somewhere near each other often makes sense because you don't always have that strong bench or that second keeper. Good cross from Mahrez into box, looks for Foden, but if you're going to put in crosses, Foden versus Fabinho is not going to win too many headers, and Hendo. And yeah, Liverpool clear it. But yeah, interesting, Seb, with your route is a little different to most, and I guess because you've got all your chips, you've got a slight advantage. And let's not forget, your route allows you to probably maximise the 24 and 25 doubles more than anyone else, which Toby and I would love to probably be able to do, but are just perhaps not so much. So, for example, in game week 25, Leeds and Southampton both have doubles. I don't know about you, Tobes, I'll probably have 1 or 2 players across those. In game week 24... I'll have 1 or 2 Burnley, I'll have no Fulham, I'll have 1 or 0 Everton, and yes, I'll have 3 City. But we're not fully maxing those doubles, are we?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But that's why I think this time of the season is the best time of the season because there's so much going on at the moment. There are so many variables. There are so many different ways you can go with your team and strategy that I think, to me, this is when it gets kind of really exciting. I like from my point of view, I bought in 2 Burnley players last week with one eye on, obviously they've got a really good double in 24. They also are very likely to have a double in 26. I haven't got any Fulham and I'm not too bothered about that because I don't really see anybody going crazy, even though their fixtures are quite good. Part of me feels like I'm quite tempted to roll my transfer for 24. So that what I could conceivably take a 1 week punt on Lookman, who has a double. But then I'll want to get Lookman straight out, so I don't really see the value in it. I really
it's 2 transfers then, isn't it, on 1 player?
Yeah, and I do quite fancy Rafinha in for 25.
Yeah.
Grealish to Rafinha. What that also does is, because I'm kind of planning for the blank in 29 as well, Rafinha plays in the blank. I'm going to need some players that are going to play in that blank because I'm not going to be using a chip for that blank.
And you don't have Bamford.
Yeah, I don't have Bamford.
You want to cover that.
Yeah, the issue is obviously getting rid of Grealish. Grealish will probably have a double in 26 and Leeds won't, but I can handle that. I think I'm probably going to have 12 or 13 players playing twice in 26 when I'll be bench boosting. So I'm quite happy with the setup at the moment.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm looking at it and I'm really happy that I'm sticking with the plan, 26 bench boost, save the wild card for later. But I'm just I end up, if I do want to maximise those 24 and 25 doubles, taking a hit or 2, which I really didn't want to do. And it seems counterintuitive knowing you're taking a 4-point hit for, I don't know, let's say Rafinha that only goes and gets one return over 2 games, and then you haven't made any net gains. But yeah, I'm going to see where I'm at. My biggest decision is, do I go DCL for next week? He's 40% owned. He's got Fulham and Man City. Loads will be giving him the armband because he got the goal and the assist in the week, and people see a double-digit haul and trust the armband. And next week we've got City playing twice. No one's going to give a Burnley player the armband, even with 2 good fixtures. I personally don't think, unless you've got a Chris Wood in your squad, maybe if he's fit.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. Like, I'm a DCL owner, but that double next week really doesn't fill me with all that much confidence. I started him this week against United, and he obviously did well, which is great. But Fulham isn't, I don't think, as quite a good a fixture as it looks on paper. Like, Fulham were pretty rock
great yesterday.
West Ham. Yeah. They have improved quite a lot. As we know, Man City don't concede any goals. You wouldn't be surprised to see DCL come out of that with 2 blanks. I really wouldn't. And yeah, to my mind, I don't think I'm even going to have DCL on the radar for captaincy in 24.
Okay, so what about you? Where are you looking for armband in 24? Because if I was on DCL, I think I'd be tempted, but I'll probably end up going Gundogan or Chris Wood. I'm definitely going with a doubler. I'm sold on that.
Just looking at my little plan, I think I've got it on, if I wildcarded, Sterling, Vice, Cancelo, so probably between those 2. I agree. I like having DCL. I maybe wouldn't captain him. I think it's effectively the Fulham match. He gets 2 versus Man City. Maybe he gets more. Cool, I'll own him. Yeah. And then it's the Fulham match. And we just saw how the captain Antonio went against Fulham. I think that was as much down to West Ham not being on it as Fulham being amazing. They're not a hard fixture, but clearly not as easy as we hoped. And looking around the rest of my plan team, I've got Dean playing twice. Pope in goal is kind of tempting, but then that feels like asking for trouble.
I was going to say, has anyone got the balls to stick it on Ben Mee or Nick Pope?
Oh, Leo Wang in the chat. He owns Triple City and he's going Pope captain. Ian Buckler's going Pope captain as well. I must admit, I'd rather go Pope than a Ben Mee. I know he can't get the goal, but just because Pope gets the save, he actually doesn't get that many save points, but he usually does very well in the BPS. I don't know. I don't think I've ever captained a goalkeeper. Have you, Tobes?
No, I definitely have never captained a goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I've only done a defender probably once a season. So yeah. I think I'll be going. I think I'm in a different position to most because I own Chris Wood, who's been a sub, but I only own him because I wanted him in 18 when everyone else was free hitting, and he's stayed in my team ever since. He's currently injured. Dyche said last week it's nothing serious, and there was talk he'd be back this weekend, and he wasn't. There's an FA Cup game in the week. If he's fit and back, I think I'll be captaining Chris Wood. He's got 2 nice fixtures. I think he's got a slightly higher upside than a Ben Mee. I don't own Pope, so I think I'll be on Chris Wood.
The Ben Mee situation feels a bit like the Shane Duffy situation of a couple of seasons ago, where everyone went mental for Shane Duffy.
Triple captained him.
There were a few triple captains on Shane Duffy, who I think famously returned 1 point across the 2 games.
Something like that.
I feel like the thing with like a Pope or a Burnley defender is there's a very definite ceiling to the points you can get. Yeah. If Cancelo concedes and doesn't get any attacking returns, if DCL does nothing or gets 1 goal, you probably end up getting more by captaining Pope. But if DCL goes and scores 2 against Fulham, or hey, even Chris Wood scores a couple, or Cancelo gets 2 clean sheets and an assist, I think you've immediately limited yourself to what you could have got by captaining Pope.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I think I can only really see you going with a Ben Mee or a Pope if you're in a mini league that's quite tight and maybe your rival doesn't own any Burnley. You've probably got, you're looking at that going, if they get 2 clean sheets and you've got a captainship on one of them, it's a really good chance to put a bit of daylight between you and them. But yeah, it doesn't thrill me. I think you can't really look beyond a City player for it.
Guys, we will be keeping you updated with the game. At the moment, very little. We've still not seen a big chance. As soon as we start getting to the point where there's chances, there's big switches in play, we'll be keeping you up to date. But until then, going to continue this chat. So Seb, you were about to add.
I was just going to say that ridiculously, it feels like captaining a goalkeeper in Nick Pope is kind of the lower risk option. You'd hope for 12 points or something like that, whereas captaining anyone else feels high risk, which seems the wrong way around when you go for a goalkeeper.
Vendog's asking, would we consider Tobes a City defender? I mean, if they keep a clean sheet today, they show they will keep clean sheets against anyone. So we shouldn't be put off by, who are the fixtures? Everton and Spurs, is it? No.
Yeah, it is. It's Spurs is the first one, and I'd be looking at, I mean, Yeah, I wouldn't back Spurs to score in that fixture. We are not very good at the moment. Like, obviously, Spurs won today and played better than they have done. But I think we've got to remember who we're playing. West Brom are really, really bad defensively. They're awful. And yeah, I could massively see City shutting us out, and I could massively see them shutting out Everton as well. So yeah, I think there's probably going to be a lot of people on Cancelo. I think Cancelo is probably going to be one of the most popular picks.
What if you don't own Diaz, right? Because I'm on Cancelo and Stones. I can't guarantee they're both going to start both. Diaz is the only one I can. So Seb, if you own Diaz, would you be much happier giving him the armband than Cancelo or Stones?
I currently have Cancelo and Stones, and in the wildcard, I'd probably go to Diaz just for the safety.
If you wildcard, you have
money,
to go Diaz.
Unless, again, like planning forward, unless I need that money.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think currently on Sterling, if I have him, I'd probably be tempted by Cancelo. Son, though, I know Spurs rubbish, not even good against West Brom, but Son, if anyone's going to score against City, Son is set up for it, right?
Yep.
He's going to get a clear-cut chance in behind their defence. So
I'm benching Son next week.
That worries me.
Yeah,
I'll probably bench him too. I think I'll hold on to him for the doubles, but.
I think it's hilarious. We're all sitting here going, Son's going to score next week, and we're all going to bench him next week.
It's a Son game more than a Kane game, though, isn't it, Toes?
Yeah, I think also Son's actually been in pretty poor form coming up to today. He really hasn't looked himself. Part of that is obviously Kane not being available. It massively diminishes his attacking potential. But he is one of those players, Son, that does tend to go on runs of form. He scores a goal and that then, sets him alight essentially, and he goes on little runs. And yeah, who knows? Getting a goal today, I'm sure, will do wonders for his confidence. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise anyone, I don't think, to see Spurs get a goal on the counter. And if they are going to do that, it's probably going to be Son.
Son's missed quite a lot of those clear-cut chances recently, hasn't he? Those sort of one-on-ones you'd expect him to put away from an angle.
Yeah.
One offside against Liverpool, one put straight at Alisson.
Oh, Trent does really well. It's not a goal. It's over the bar. But check this header out from Mane. It's the closest we've come. Trent does really well, doesn't he, Topes, on the right?
He does.
A really good chance.
Trent's actually, last couple of games, one to monitor. His form seems to be improving. He puts it on a sixpence for Mane. It's a good header. He gets in front of his man. I think it's Cancelo, kind of quite sloppy there, Cancelo, slow to react. And Mane fires over.
Zinchenko gets turned inside out, doesn't he, on the left back there? He just kind of dinks in, then dinks outside. So yeah, to be fair, it's a good chance for Mane. Mane's good in the air, and he times it well. He just kind of, he almost sort of like cuts down on it, like you're playing like a slice in tennis, and it just, like elevates it up. But yeah, best chance of the game by far, and probably should have hit the target.
Yeah. So we've got Matt pointing out that Son did score against City last time. Are we thinking that he's definitely on your bench? Do you think, because at the moment he's my first sub, although I could bench Bamford. It's Bamford versus Arsenal or Son versus City for me.
So, I mean, yeah, agreed with the person who's pointing out Son scored last time. As I said, I think if anyone's going to score against City, it's Son. The reason he'd probably be on my bench is, looking at the plan, I would have Fernandes, Sterling, Grealish, Antonio, Calvert-Lewin and Bamford. I don't know if I start Son ahead of any of those given the fixtures. Maybe Bamford.
That's the only one I'm looking at.
Arsenal away, they didn't massively impress me the other day. And I would be benching Rafinha, who I would have. I would have 3 leads if I wildcarded. I know that sounds a bit silly. It's like I'm hedging my bets there, but yeah, I guess I am. I think if anyone's going to score for Leeds against Arsenal, it'll be Bamford.
Dallas or Ayling? Who's your third Leeds? Because now Ayling's at right back.
So I have... This was just for money. I needed 0.1. I have Ayling at the moment with him at right back. I have Ayling at the moment at right back because there's a 0.4 between them now or something. And with him at right back, I think he's a better prospect even than Dallas in midfield. But we've seen Dallas has already built that up. If you look at their XGI over the season, Ayling is something like 0.4 behind Dallas. He just hasn't had the luck, whereas Dallas has. We've seen him hit long shots that probably shouldn't go in.
Yeah, you're listening to this, Tobes. Dallas has had the luck and Ayling hasn't. There you go. Heard it there first.
But, I mean, hey, it's much of a muchness. Get either. I needed 0.1, so I've currently got Ayling.
One thing's for sure is next season when Dallas is 5.5 and Ayling's 4.5, jump on Ayling all day long.
True. And Dallas, I mean, I say Dallas won't play midfield. I don't think Dallas will ever not play somewhere in our team, but we need a midfielder. Dallas is not a midfielder long term for us.
That's assuming Leeds are still in the Premier League next season, right?
Yeah, come on. I think they're going to finish 11th. Coming
from a Spurs fan, is that? I think according to the bookies' odds, I think we're closer to Champions League than we are relegation. Doesn't mean we couldn't do something about that. We were the first team ever not to get promoted after winning the first leg of a Championship semi-final playoff. So I'm sure we can do this one too.
Mane should get booked for that. I don't know if you saw that, guys. It was Mahrez on the break, and I don't think Mane's been shown the yellow. If that's not that's a yellow all day long, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Talking of dodgy decisions, I feel like it'd be remiss of us not to discuss very briefly the Souček red card. My word.
Yeah, especially because it's such a big one in FPL. Let's wait for this free kick to come in from Gundogan, and then let's definitely go there. Okay, fires over everyone and goes out for a throw-in. The reason it was given, or the reason Mike Dean was asked to go and look at it, apparently, is because it was a clenched fist. How do we feel about that? I mean, his hand was like that. It wasn't like that, and even if it was, that doesn't mean it's deliberate. What's your take, Seb?
If I'm honest, I almost don't want to. It's a bad call. Everyone knows it's a bad call. You know, I feel like VAR. So, you know, yesterday I was saying let's not blame technology for the bad decisions of people. Obviously, they're kind of one in the same, right? The technology is allowing bad decisions, but VAR, in terms of an ability to make better decisions, is a good thing. It's just not being used well at all.
Yeah.
And I don't want us to go back to, I don't think we will, but I don't want us to go back to, you know, just the ref's decision is law and subjectivity is king because some people have made bad decisions. Yesterday was a really bad decision.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right. I think like loads of other sports have done this as well, where they've introduced technology, and we talk, don't we, a lot about rugby doing it well, cricket doing it well, tennis doing it well, but it's easy to forget that, particularly in cricket, when it came in, it wasn't actually that good. It did take quite a lot of refining. Now it is brilliant, but it did take a year or two to get it to be really good. And yeah, it would be such a shame, I think, if they were to just get rid of it and go, oh, because it's crap and it's not working, bin it. That's not the answer to me. The answer is make it better, implement it better, apply it better.
Ooh, good hit from Firmino. It's going top bins. Ederson pushes it over the bar. Could have been a Salah assist there. It comes from a header.
Ooh, really good shot.
It was. When you called that, I was like, but it's going really wide. What's he going to do here? Lovely shot on the half turn.
Yeah, he does well there, and it comes off Diaz, so it wouldn't have been a Salah assist. But yeah, he hits that really clean.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
really
so
nice.
Out for a corner. So yeah, Tobes, you're right. I didn't realise there was sort of teething problems with the cricket link, and I don't think there was massively in rugby. But what annoys me about the Premier League and VAR, and it's here to stay, it's not going anywhere. We might see tweaks in how it's worked. And Foden's just on a break here, hits the halfway line. It's good recovery pace from Curtis Jones, plays it back to the keeper, and we're safe. For me, it's we saw VAR in Serie A and we saw it in the Bundesliga the year before it came to the Premier League. And I'm sure, because we're not in those countries, we don't quite hear the level of moaning and I just feel like it's worked better overseas quicker. So, for example, in Germany and Italy, refs were going over to pitchside monitors straight away, really early. It took us 12 months to start sending refs over, and now we're doing it. We don't seem to be doing it right.
Giant surprise the continent is dealing better with something than we are. I think the thing for me is, and I know in rugby there's loads of nuance and, you know, it hasn't worked perfectly in rugby in the past. There's questions now about how that's being used. But the real big difference for me is how it's refereed, if that makes sense. In football, it is, and you heard, was it Peter Walton saying yesterday, VAR isn't there to make the correct decision. Silly soundbite, but I know what he means. VAR isn't there to say this was a foul and that isn't. It's there to just help the referee make a better decision. In rugby, it basically is there to make the decision. That's how it should be used. It's a team, right?
Yeah.
The ref on the field shouldn't be this, you know, God Almighty that everyone looks up to. Yeah. They are a refereeing team. Yeah. In rugby, the ref will go to the TMO and say, try.
Who's in the stand, not at Stockley Park. You know, he's in the stand.
And he will say, try, yes or no. Or he will say, is there any reason I can't award the try? And those questions were carefully crafted to make sure that the TMO knows what they're looking at and can give the correct decision.
I completely agree with that. And I think that the Premier League are like absolving responsibility of themselves by just going, no, you know, it's almost like they don't want to have the blame shouldered on them. So they can just go, oh, we're just kind of, you know, nudging the referee in the right. It's like, no, take responsibility for the decision. Watch something 2 or 3 times and say definitively what you think the decision is. Have a panel in Stockley Park, have 3 ex-players in there, and then say if there's a unanimous decision, 2 out of the 3 think it is and 2 don't, then you go. Like, just, they shouldn't be there saying that they're not there to make the right. They should be there to make the right decision. I think it is as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a refereeing team. They should come to the correct decision as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike Dean yesterday, yes, it was a poor decision. He goes over to the pitchline monitor. He went over there knowing, go and check because we've seen a clenched fist and it could have been an error on Mike Dean's part for not spotting it. Not, we've seen it and we think it should be X.
But again, that to me is like a really hypocritical situation. In that, I think it was Walton was on the other day saying, talking about intent, and he's like, we can't read players' minds. We don't ever know the intent, so we only go on a player's actions. Therefore, you can't then say, oh, because he's got a clenched fist, like he's got an intent to hurt him. Like that isn't evidence to me that Souček is trying to deliberately injure or elbow somebody. That to me was the action of a footballer that you see all the time, like trying to just move his arm outside of his head. And I've literally not seen anyone that thinks it is a red card, and it just baffles me that it's been given. It really does.
Yes or no answer, Tobes. Will it be rescinded?
Yes.
Seb?
I mean, the David Luiz one wasn't, was it? So
The Bednarek was.
It probably should be, but then maybe... And I don't hate this, if they're trying to protect their referee from further criticism, maybe they don't just to try and stick together. The irony being, of course, that that's not what they did in the original case. They went, up to you, ref, go and make a decision. So
I don't think it will be, only because it's the same referee in 3 days. It'd be 2 in 3 days or 2 in 4 days. And by the way, Mike Dean's back on an FA Cup game this weekend. I think it's less this midweek.
And it is important. Mike Dean is a human. It is important that they don't encourage the abuse of him. The irony, of course, being that maybe the way the system is set up. Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
Didn't Southampton come out and lodge like an official complaint where they said they never want Moss and Mike Dean on their game? Well, I imagine West Ham will follow suit and do the same thing. But yeah, I mean, that's obviously silly. You can't just suddenly pick and choose which referees you want. It's getting a little bit silly. But...
You can if you're in Serie A in the early noughties. That was a thing. Anyways, Liverpool guys, by the way, I think they were like, someone put in the chat, Suman has put 81% possession, and I did see a stat come up. I think I saw high 70s, but I don't remember City being dominated for possession quite like this. And we've had those in the chat raising the issue, why is Fernandinho not playing well? It is always Fernandinho or Rodri, and Rodri has been good, but Liverpool really are dominant here. They look like the home team. And
is that last 5 minutes? Because I've got 50-50 for that.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got 50-50 as well.
I think it was what I saw on screen was a last 5 or last 10 graphic. So, yeah, that's interesting that it is 50-50. Okay, so City obviously did have a lot of the early play, but didn't do much with it. And again, Liverpool have created a couple of saves out of Ederson. They've had a couple of corners. City haven't really had a sniff. Foden, I don't want to say this just because we didn't think it was happening, but Foden does look a little bit lost as a pivot, as a sort of, as a number 9.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just he's not going to be a target man, and obviously Sterling or Mahrez wouldn't be. But Foden just doesn't seem to quite know what runs to make up there. He looks a little bit lost, don't you think, Tobes?
Yeah, I completely agree. Which almost then makes me sort of think how good Pep is that he's gone this whole season without really having a focal 9, and has been blowing teams away left, right, and centre. I know this is a slightly different game playing against Liverpool. But yeah, Foden at the moment does look a little bit isolated. He's on the ball actually here, and nice little turn, gets fouled. Yeah, Foden's not a 9. He looks far more comfortable, in my opinion, coming off that left-hand side, and I'm sure he probably would be thinking exactly the same thing. But yeah, City, it doesn't really feel like City have kind of got going yet. They started well. Liverpool come back into it. But yeah, it's been probably a bit cagier than maybe we were thinking.
Drama in the chat. Okay. My eyes are now off the chat. I can see that there's been an incident. And for the rest of the incident, I will not be reading from the chat and we'll be reporting on what we're seeing. So we might be a little bit behind. If you're not looking at the chat, you don't need to. Sterling's got the ball. He's going into the area. And he gets taken down for a pen by Fabinho. It looks like a trailing leg. So this will be Gundogan on the penalty, we expect.
That probably is a pen as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it looked like one in real time.
I'm not going to check the chat if you have updated us. I know many purposely like to keep their eyes off it. I'm seeing the replay now, and Fabinho does stick a leg out. And look, Sterling draws the foul. It's a clear penalty for me. Tobes and Seb, let us know what you think.
I'm just seeing it right now. Yeah, he just catches him with his kind of back leg. If there's contact there, then
it's smart, isn't it, Seb?
Yeah, I was just going to agree with Tobes. I was literally just going to say, yeah. Yeah, so I think he's won it. I think he's won it rather than it being given away, if that makes sense.
Now, will it be Sterling or will it be Gundogan? We saw Sterling.
Better not be Sterling.
It surely won't
it is
be.
Sterling. I think it is Sterling.
No, it's Gundo.
Oh, is it Gundo?
Yes, it's Gundo. It's confirmed. It's Gundogan.
Oh, good.
Okay,
That could be a reprieve, couldn't it, from thinking he's coming off after 2 minutes?
Anyone think he's going to miss?
Oh,
Well, almost certainly now.
Alisson in goal. Have we all got Gundogan? Yeah, Tobes, you're on him?
Yeah. I've got Gundogan.
Gundogan takes it over. No.
Oh,
seriously?
Yeah.
I'm just watching it now. Gundogan steps up. Oh, it's woeful. So at least Alisson doesn't get the save points.
Was it Mahrez a few years ago? Gundogan now missing
God,
those missing in those important penalties.
So Sterling took the last penalty and blazed it over. I think it was over. This is a yard over.
That's not a good penalty.
No. Right, who's next? KDB, get him back, get him on him.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, that's poor.
No, what ownership was Gundogan, guys? He's about 10% owned, isn't he? We needed that.
Gundogan is 20.7% owned.
Ah, bloody hell, it's fine.
Yes, he missed. 10% would have been wishful thinking. Wow, what a let-off for Liverpool, eh?
Massive let-off. And there's quite a few out there with Sterling that would have wanted that assist as well. So,
yeah.
Ball in from Robbo. Salah on the chest. No, he fails to control. Interesting that the last couple of games I've noticed Trent's been higher up the pitch than Robbo. And all season until now-ish, it's been Robbo higher up than Trent. So one to keep an eye on if you are looking at Liverpool fullback. Trent's certainly coming into it. That penalty, I'm seeing it again now. He's obviously going for the top bins and Alisson reads it, but it's so far over.
I think it was Gary Lineker said once that you should never aim more than a foot. How to explain? You should always aim like a foot inside the post or under the crossbar, because then if you get it wrong, it still goes nicely. That feels like one of those where he's gone, I'm going to put this top corner. And because he's got it wrong, it's gone over. It's not.
It's just
if it goes in, it's an amazing penalty, but it really hasn't.
It's just so unforgivable to miss a penalty, isn't it? Like, even if you take a rubbish penalty and it's saved, you probably have more sympathy. But yeah, missing the target from 12 yards for a professional footballer is not on.
And that's why you've got to allow that margin for error. And I completely get the Gary Lineker thing, Seb. Like, what it looks like, the way Gundogan's even stood over that ball and his run up, everything about it, and how he's hit it so hard, everything about it looks like he's trying to score the perfect top bin. I would
rather. I Tobe saying you can't miss. I guess I disagree a bit because 0.8 xG and all that. But I know what you mean in terms of I would rather someone missed by just placing it calmly to one side and the goalkeeper guesses it and gets it right, than smashing it for the top corner and missing yourself. An unforced error, if you like. I would rather you at least try and send the goalkeeper and make the goalkeeper make a save.
0.8 xG suggests that 1 in 5 pens are missed. Is that fair? 1 in 5 missed?
It's 0.76 to be precise, I think, depending on the model, probably. When you say, is it fair? It's borne out in the numbers, so yes.
I can't imagine in training 1 in 5 are missed. Obviously, in matches they are, and that's what it goes off. It'd be really interesting to get, I don't know, you get the whole City squad up and they all take a penalty against Edison in training. I bet they get 1 miss out of 20.
It's funny, though, isn't it? Because the variance must really be spread across different players, because you get players, don't you, that have markedly better conversion rates than missing 1 in 5. Like, top of my head, Jorginho's record is very good. Harry Kane's record is very good. Eden Hazard always had a really good record, I think, didn't he? But then obviously that would suggest that along with players like that, you've got then your Ollie Watkinses who probably miss more than
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Didn't we have a look at this a while ago?
Yeah, we did.
I remember good penalty takers were like 0.85 and there were a couple at like 0.9.
Yeah, I don't think Toes was on that one, but we did. We brought it up, and I think it was Kev in the chat gave us a link to a really good story.
There's a penalty shout here for Liverpool for a handball. I'm sure VAR's going to look at it now. The ball's gone out of play. It looked a bit like one of those where he had his arm raised. They're looking at it now. I mean...
no, he's fine.
Is that right?
It's Rodri. It does strike his arm, but it's not in an unnatural position. It's about 2 yards from him.
And he's not even in the box, is he, looking at it there?
Yeah, I think that might have been just on the edge, wasn't it? Free kick, yeah. Yeah, the pens were interesting. We were looking, because we were saying sort of about Vardy, and it turned out, Vardy's record wasn't amazing. I think it was maybe during a Leicester game we did the numbers. Kane was high. I think the highest in the league, I think Jorginho was second in terms of over his career. I can't remember who came out on top, but yeah, there was
Bruno's got 16 in 17,
Bruno,
I think, off the top of my head.
Bruno was
Kane's record actually, like Kane missed a couple early on in his career. I think when he was on loan at a couple of clubs and maybe one early on at Spurs. His record over the last like 5 or 6 years has been pretty astonishing. I can only think of like 1 or 2 he's missed.
He won the Golden Boot in a World Cup from scoring pens.
Yeah, well,
and tap-ins against Costa Rica or whoever it was.
Still got to put him away, mate.
So that bit there, I was just been thinking about Foden up front and that little bit of play there. I wonder if the reason he's there is Liverpool don't have their traditional DM there. You know, Wijnaldum maybe the closest to it with some Curtis Jones coming backwards. And with Fabinho and Henderson at centre-back, I wonder if you play that kind of false nine that both tries to sit in a hole, but isn't going to necessarily run beyond the defence, is going to sit ahead of them.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going for that, try and draw centre-backs out who aren't used to playing in that position, or try and take advantage of probably a hole where there would normally be a Fabinho from midfield.
And runners beyond.
Maybe that's the thinking.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And you're right, Seb, it is definitely a false nine from Pep today. Because what irks me is when we get midfielders playing number 9 and everyone defaults to they're playing a false 9. That's not the case. Like midfielders can play as a number 9. They don't need to be called false 9 just because they're not naturally a striker. And KDB earlier this season played as number 9. There was nothing false about it. He played in the position where a number 9 would play, and everyone was calling him a false 9 just because he's a midfielder. Not the case at all. He played as number 9, but today Foden's dropping deep and taking up those positions. And you're right. If it pulls Hendo and Fabinho out of position, then you get Gundogan running beyond, or you get Sterling in behind. Maybe that's
Sorry, is this a pen here for Liverpool?
Nah, it's surely not. The first contact is outside, but does it continue into the box? I don't know. No.
Nah, it's definitely a foul just outside. Still, though, great position for Trent.
Cancelo on Mane, so it was Mane that goes down. And then Mane tries going down for the pen off another foul. From
That's a good tackle from Stones in the second time.
Yeah.
Interesting position here from Trent. Is it too close?
Yeah, I think it is a bit too close.
Unless
it's one of those.
James Ward-Prowse, it's unlikely to go in, right?
I'd love to see his free kick conversion rate compared with like the general.
I think I saw so.
Only Messi's better, right, or something?
The average is something like 3%. And I think James Ward-Prowse, I don't think this was his career, it might be the last 2 seasons, had something like 11 or 12%, which is ridiculous.
It's like Ollie Watkins from a pen.
How common is this? I've only really noticed it this year. The whole like getting a player to lie down behind the wall. That wasn't happening last season, was it?
Did you just see Diaz grab him and drag him into position?
Is it Zinchenko on the floor? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the weird thing is though.
Wow, it wasn't Trent. It's Thiago, and it must take a deflection. It's literally gone about 30 yards.
Yeah, it does. Comes off the wall. The weird thing is, though, with the player lying behind the wall, I've never in the Premier League seen a goal go in under a wall, I don't think. It must have happened.
Oh, yeah, there's been a few.
Not in the Premier League. In the Premier League. I've seen them in Europe. I can't ever remember seeing one in the Prem.
Yeah, I can remember Messi doing it a few times. You're obviously not in the Premier League. Slotting it. Oh, header from Mane. Save.
Goal?
No goal. Still 0-0. City on the break.
Yeah.
Sterling puts in Foden. There's space here. But no, again, Foden's not going to be the best at holding the ball up.
No. He's just isolated, isn't he? He's getting heavily pressed. Like, whenever he's on the ball, he's got 3 Liverpool players straight on him.
Oh, that Gundogan goal would have wiped for us, right? We're all on Gundogan. None of us have Liverpool defenders. Would have wiped out all the Liverpool clean sheets because there's still a lot on Robbo and Trent.
That would have made me feel a bit better about DCL being benched over Gundo as well.
Yeah. And Gundogan scores that because he's so good in the BPS, Gundogan. He scores that and he's a banker for BPS. If that goes in. Now, I don't know what a penalty miss goes against you in the BPS. I don't think it's massive. Obviously, you get -2 for the miss, right? Or is it -1 for a pen miss?
-2.
-2.
-2. So, and a red card is minus...
Well, straight red is -3. And 2 yellows. I guess 2 yellows would be...
-2.
Quite possible. I'm not sure, actually. If it gets turned into the red, maybe it is a -3, but you wipe out the yellows.
Yeah,
I have to look that up.
Yeah, no, that's right. Jan, we've talked a lot about DCL and obviously has the double next week. Seb and I already own him. Is he nailed on to come into your team next week?
No, he's not. He's only nailed if Everton are guaranteed a double in 20, or it's dependent on the FA Cup. If they're likely to double in 26, and we won't know that for sure, but if they're very likely to double in 26, then DCL comes in. If they're not, then no, he definitely won't be coming in just for that one double.
I think from memory they're not that likely to double in 26.
Yeah, I think it wasn't it wasn't in the bracket of 60% plus, but
No,
it was like a 40 to 60.
Yeah. That said, though, I think you're right to wait, because if they do, their fixtures are Southampton and possibly West Brom, which is pretty juicy, right?
Yeah, you definitely need DCL for that. So no, my transfer will be DCL, or it will be another Burnley defender, or slash Ben Mee, slash Pope. I'm just not sure if I'll do both.
Didn't Burnley clear like 20 shots the other day or something ridiculous for Burnley?
Oh, Brighton were absolutely terrible.
Yeah. I watched all
I
that
don't know
game.
how Burnley conceded. Like, Brighton offered nothing.
But yeah, I was fuming because I had double Burnley.
Half time.
And Brighton scored from a corner where Goodmanson was on the post, and as the corner came in, went off the post and then couldn't get back on the post. It was just rubbish. It had clean sheet written all over it.
That was a very satisfying one for the classic commentator, like, oh, zonal marking. That was man marking and a man on each post, and they managed to concede.
Guys in the chat, thank you for joining us today on Scoutcast Match Day. We are going to be turning our attention, or a small amount of our attention during half time, to what did we say we were going to discuss, guys? It was something that was non-FPL related but football related. It was the talisman theory. We were going to look at a couple of teams that really rely on their one man in their team. So what we're looking for, guys, is to create a top 3. So we want your suggestions here. We've got 20 Premier League teams. What teams rely more on one player than all the rest? So, for example, Spurs rely a huge amount on Harry Kane. Therefore, do Spurs make our top 3? When Kane doesn't play, Spurs are a different team. So there's probably don't even need to discuss that. I think that's pretty clear. But what other teams feature? Seb, I'll come to you for one first.
Oh, for one, I'll leave you the obvious one and go with Wolves with Jimenez out, as we're seeing this year.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's going to be close to featuring our top 3. Tobes, suggestions?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bruno is the obvious shout, right, at Manchester United. But yeah, I would say to a lesser extent DCL at Everton.
Yeah, nice. We've got in the chat, H97 has gone with Villa and Grealish. I like that. I'd say this season, if someone like Barkley and El Ghazi can step in on the left and Barkley's creative in the middle, perhaps they can still just about survive, but maybe not. Crystal Palace, so I'm guessing you're referring to Zaha there. That's a good shout. We're having United Bruno. We've got some Leicester Jess has gone with. Jess, let us know who at Leicester. Are you presumably Vardy?
I would until this period, I would probably have agreed with Vardy. But I think, today they didn't look great, and then Vardy came on and didn't really change it. But I think they've done all right. Maybe just not quite top 3.
So what about Leeds? So which player, if you find out tomorrow they're out for 6 months, who's the most damaging to Leeds?
It's Bamford all day long. Surely there's no other striker in the club.
Actually, so I would say Meslier.
Okay, interesting.
He's a Champions League winner. Casillas is a Champions League winner.
He's also a serial throw the ball in my own netter.
we got Kev's gone with Wilson and Newcastle. Yeah, not a bad shout. Although remember he wasn't there last season. And they did all right. Everton and Pickford from El Fozzy, love that. Zaha and Palace clearly, says GTX. A lot of Vardy. Nick Pope and Burnley. Yeah, it's interesting. You never really think of a goalkeeper, but he's definitely their best player.
Because they've got Peacock Farrell, I would agree, because he's terrible.
And they've come from a place where they've had good keepers. I remember Joe Hart, number 3. We had Heaton there.
I think to a lesser extent, Antonio makes West Ham I'm not saying West Ham are particularly bad without Antonio, but he makes them a much, much better team, in my opinion.
Yeah. So from all of the suggestions we've had, I'm thinking Zaha and Palace might come into the top 3.
It's kind of relative, isn't it? Because if you're talking about how much better that player makes the team, I'd probably say Kane makes Spurs a better team than Zaha makes Palace, but possibly arguably Palace miss Zaha more.
What about how many points it adds? Let's go. How many points a season do you get by having that one player? So Spurs getting up 15 points a season from Harry Kane alone, right? Than playing Carlos Vinicius. I don't think Palace get 15 points from Zaha because they don't win that many games anyway.
Yeah, it's really difficult to quantify, I think, because it does depend on how you're kind of measuring like the talisman sort of tag, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't think it's particularly at the moment. I think it's probably hard to look past Kane, but I do think that's partly down to the fact that Kane is such an exceptional footballer that he's putting the rest of the team to shame.
We've had some dreadful guesses in the chat. I'm guessing you're all taking a mick. Brewster at Sheffield United, Partey at Arsenal, Fulham and Mitrovic, Chelsea and Pulisic. That's a fair one, but I don't think that great a guess.
I think Aubameyang would have been a shout
last season,
like 2 or 3 years ago, whereas now, like I a bit of Schadenfreude for me. I often watch Arsenal fan TV when they lose, and my God, they have like turned on Aubameyang as a player. Like they're all like just. It seems like they're all sick of him at the moment. He's just offering nothing, I think, at the moment.
Hazard for Chelsea, nice.
The irony being that I think he got that new contract in big part because they couldn't afford not to because of what the fans would have said.
Yeah.
Like, it probably wasn't a great business decision, and they probably knew that. They just did it because they were like, the optics on this, we can't not. And he's underperformed as well, obviously, which has made it worse now.
And Didi at Leicester is a great shout. Aguero at City, not sure anymore. They've adapted pretty well without him. Good, yeah. Lots asking what the question is because so many have jumped on. Thank you guys for joining us. You come in for half time and leave us for the second half. Stay with us. But the question was, who relies on one player more than anyone else in terms of Premier League teams? So we've had Grealish at Villa. We've had Zaha at Palace. We've had Bruno. Lots of big names in there. Wow, Gundogan has missed 2 of his last 5 penalties now.
Ooh.
And that was before today, I think. So now 3 and 6. That's pretty poor.
I'll be interested to know what his record is going further back than that, assuming he actually took them.
Did he take him at Dortmund? No, it would have been Aubameyang.
I honestly don't know. That was a while ago.
Would have been Aubameyang, surely.
I don't know how much they overlap, so there's probably an opportunity. I know Marco Reus, he takes them now. Well, Haaland takes them. Marco Reus took them before that, so
yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, let's finish up on this one and talk FPL. But in terms of just to leave it, if we can all pick one team that relies more on one player, I'm going to go with Spurs. I know Kane. I think take Kane out of that team, and yeah, it's pretty desperate. Seb?
Wolves
and Jimenez.
Jimenez.
Tobes?
Bruno.
You couldn't go against your boys, could you? Bruno would be my close second. Okay, guys, we've spoken a little bit about sort of chip strategy and stuff. I just want to turn, and we've gone towards captaincy as well, but because everyone in the chat is going to care about captaincy next week, let's just have a little look at that, because it's kind of, do we rule out any of the single game weekers, or do we look at the doubles? So just to confirm, guys, and if you don't know, follow Fantasy Football Scout on Twitter for all the latest with fixture announcements and stuff. But you would have seen they tweeted on last Thursday, Burnley, Fulham, Everton and City, all with a double game week in 24. Does that make you, Tobes, definitely captain someone from one of those 4 teams? If so, who?
I think the short answer to your question is actually no. And I think you can make a pretty good case for captaining Bruno against West Brom in the single game week, given the form that Bruno is in. Obviously, two big returns back to back. West Brom are probably making a pretty good case of being the worst team in the Premier League, certainly defensively. And actually, you're looking at all of the double game week players. Burnley obviously have 2 good fixtures, but do you really want to stick your captain on a Burnley defender or goalkeeper? Probably not. Man City, on paper, actually have 2 quite tough fixtures. Spurs and Everton, they're probably not 2 teams that they're going to score loads of goals against and roll over. Also, you're probably not guaranteed 2 clean sheets against Spurs and Everton. Everton, Fulham and Man City, that feels like it almost feels like a single game week, doesn't it, for DCL? The City game feels like a 2-pointer. So, yeah, I think people should be, if they got Bruno, they should be quite heavily considering sticking him on. And also, in terms of effective ownership, we might not see Bruno at the levels that we normally do because people will be tempted in by double game week players and possibly rightfully so. So, yeah, like by no means am I suggesting Bruno is going to be a differential captain pick in that week, but maybe won't be quite as popular as he normally would be.
Seb, what do you reckon? I mean, you're likely to wildcard that massively. Brescia without Roberto Baggio. Thank you, Roderick Salmon, for adding that. I love that.
If we're playing that game, Rodrigo de Paul for Udinese.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah, Messi, fair. He's probably, in world football, he's like the player that is most mismatched with club he's at, I swear. He would be like Juve's best midfielder.
Yeah, he would be. And he's been linked with Juve for like the last 12 months. Yeah, it's an interesting one, and there's always some hidden gems in Serie A. I remember Cavani playing for Palermo, the bottom of Serie A. Cavani was brilliant in his early 20s playing, and then Dybala was also at Palermo, and Fabio Grosso that won the winning kick for Italy in the World Cup also at Palermo. And Luca Toni's been there.
The Napoli front three: Cavani, Lavezzi, and Hamsik was part of that, wasn't he? But do you remember that Napoli front three? I guess.
I think Mertens early doors was in that front three too. It was Mertens out wide, but yeah, we saw Lavezzi before he went to PSG was amazing, and then Cavani too. So there's always a few hidden gems, and Rodrigo de Paul's definitely one. In terms of captaincy, Seb, because you're going wild card, I must admit I'm not ruling out a Game Week 24 wild card once we see the fixtures to fully maximise this, because I'd still bench boost in 26. And it gives you a really nice captaincy option because you can bring in a Sterling. If Sterling is rested in the FA Cup and we think he's going to play twice in Game Week 24, I can see that being a pretty popular pick for those, definitely for those that have him. Are you likely to captain anyone else but Sterling next week?
Yeah, so just to point out, with the 24 wildcard, we'll know by Thursday evening, we'll know who the teams are going to double. But I don't think we'll know the exact schedule. There's a chance some may sit in 27 rather than 26 because of the broadcasters. But for me, that kind of, obviously it would be ideal to know that. But if everyone's going to double in 26 or 27, well, I'll have them all in 26 and then be ready for 27 anyway. That's fine. But I think in terms of captain, I will have on my shortlist Pope, Cancelo, Sterling, Fernandes. So out of those, probably Sterling, right?
Yeah. Guys in the chat, Matt Clark, Dominic Berardi for Sassuolo or Belotti for Torino, criminally underrated.
Oh, Belotti, that's a great shout.
I don't know how Belotti hasn't moved to the Premier League. Every single transfer
window,
he's linked with Spurs, or before that, United every window. Yeah, interesting one. Saman has asked, Toby is drinking champagne directly. His bottle looks like that. Tobes, let me see your bottle. I missed that. Okay.
I don't know what kind of champagne he's drinking, but yeah, no, unfortunately not. This is orange squash, the hard stuff.
This is my massive,
nice.
Massive tank.
How do you drink that and not go to the toilet during our 2-hour shows?
He's just weeing on the floor.
A catheter.
Or maybe what we just saw wasn't water. Ishmael's, I see the word Grosso and I have to read it. Yeah, Grosso was a fullback, wingback. Now I got all the Italian shirts. Yeah, love that. Yeah, Grosso is an absolute hero. So second half is approaching. Liverpool, Man City, 0-0. Where are we at?
Can we just very quickly, Jan, before we go on to that, same question back to you about captaincy. About captaincy. What are your thoughts? Are you tempted by Bruno rather than a double game week player?
No, all day long a doubler for me. Even though the Bruno fixture's nice, I just like double your chances.
Yeah.
It keeps the doubles more and more fun. My options will be Ben Mee or Chris Wood if I go down the Burnley route. And Chris Wood, the upside's bigger than me if he's fit. Or I go with a City player. It depends who's rested for City in the FA Cup. They have Swansea. If Gundogan is rested, Gundogan becomes an option, although I think he'll be off pens. If Cancelo is rested in that fixture, he becomes an option, thinking he'll play twice. But it all depends on who gets the rest versus Swansea. Likewise, if I wildcard, like Seb, if I wildcard, Sterling is in as a placeholder for KDB, and therefore he gets the armband if he is rested against Swansea. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. But yeah, I'm probably only 10-15% likely to wildcard. It's just frustrating where I'm at the moment, and I want to knee-jerk and do something. But will I actually do it in reality? Probably not. Depends on those FA Cup results.
So you would not wildcard in 25. You would hold it beyond these doubles, right?
100. Yeah, I'm either wildcarding in 24 or not at all. I can't in 26 because I'm bench boosting, and 25 doesn't allow me to make the most of the doubles.
Do you have your free hit?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can free hit in 29 if you have to, or ignore it like we spoke about earlier. So would you be wildcarding then, say 30 or a bit later, just for a run of fixtures into the end of the season?
Yeah, that's all it would be. And again, I think it was last season or maybe the season before that, I ended up wildcarding like game week 36, and I didn't even need to. I had it, and I don't want to be at the point where I just end up having a wildcard and use it for the sake of it, when I could use it now and maximise these doubles.
See, that's the thing. You say, what, 10 or 15%? And don't let me talk you into that. It's not what I'm trying to do. But if I was in a position where I've got a double coming up, and I can, even if I've got an okay team, if I can put out 9, 10, 11 double players, but I could wildcard and get the optimal 15, or, with 25 in mind as well. And then, it requires some planning, but you can set yourself up very nicely for 27, 28, and then beyond 29 as well. I'd be very tempted to do that over holding a wild card for a sort of indeterminate fixture shift that I don't know is going to happen. And maybe you can set your team up great for the last 4 or 5 weeks, but is that the way you're going to maximize the points potential?
Possibly not. The big problem for me is my team is really well set up already for game week 26 for the bench boost. What it's not set up well for is the doubles in 24 and 25. For example, I don't own Nick Pope. I don't own Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't own a Rafinha. I don't own a Dallas. So I don't have these Leeds or Burnley or Everton players. And I've got 3 City, but again, if I was wildcarding, I could go Diaz instead of Stones. Little things like that.
That's kind of what's making me do it. So if I wildcard 24, it requires a lot of planning. Like using, I think it's Live FPL Planner or whatever it is. I can wildcard in 24, make a transfer for have 3 leads on the bench or whatever it'll be, then have 3 leads for 25, possibly McCarthy. Maybe I might just leave Southampton. And then in 26, I can have 11 doubles plus a decent bench boost, which might have 2 doublers, but some really good fixtures either way. Son would be in there, for example. And then in 27, 28, I've looked at it, I would have a really good 11 to the point where I'd be benching like a James Justin or something. Then we get to 29 where I free hit. And then, we look beyond 30 and we'll look at fixtures, but I'm still going to have 3 City. I'll have 2 Man United. I maybe then would start to get on Chelsea with transfers maybe. I feel like, it requires planning and a big injury would put me in trouble, but it feels like the best to take advantage of my chips that I have. And hey, I'm 350k, 400k. I need to start making some moves.
Tobes?
Hearing
Seb and me, knowing you were probably 1% likely to wildcard, are you bumping up to 10%?
I don't think so. I think my strategy is quite set, and I've spent quite a lot of time and made quite a lot of transfers to...
Yeah, you double Burnley, for example, last week.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think I'm going to be pretty well prepped for game week 26. I'm then going to essentially dead-end my team into 29 to get as many players playing as possible. I'm probably not going to be able to get 11 out, but that's fine. And then, I will wildcard in 30 to give myself eight games with the most optimal team possible. I've also got my triple captain to think about as well. I still haven't used that. And I think the likelihood is I'll probably be using it on a double game week that hasn't yet been announced, because they obviously haven't been announced yet. And there will be a good one, I'm sure. Well, at least I hope there will be. Because, I think if I didn't have my bench boost, I'd be probably eyeing up a Harry Kane for 26. But I feel quite confident in the strategy that I've got. I do totally see what Seb says, and it may not be the best use of the kind of opportunity to get the most number of points. But I'm too stubborn to change it now.
I think the wildcard 30 is a valid strategy. That's kind of the one I'm not necessarily arguing against, because you'd still be looking to optimize 26 and then get out of whatever hole you've got into in 30.
Yeah.
More for me would be
if you're free hit.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I was more trying to compare with you, Gianni, where it sounds like you're not even going to wildcard out of a hole in 29, which maybe makes me feel like you're going to be just looking for an opportunity for the wildcard when I think there are 2 decent ones coming up.
My hope was that my bench boost and triple captain and maybe my free hit would have gone, but come game week 33 or 35 or 37, there's another big double when I can wildcard around that and make the most of it. But it seems like it's just holding it a little bit too long. And I actually think the Premier League, because this season's overrunning anyway, and because the Euros are coming this summer, and because there's so many teams in cup competitions, City on the break here, Sterling on the halfway line. Don't think it's going to lead to much. I think the Premier League are trying to get all those fixtures in now, so we wouldn't usually see fixtures next week in the midweek in game week 24 up against Champions League. The Premier League haven't gone up against Champions League because the broadcasters don't like to for years and years and years. But this season, game week 24, those midweek games, I think are going up against the Champions League. Or is it in the 25, Leeds Southampton? One of the midweek games going up against Champions League. That just shows what the Premier League are looking to do. Get them all in early. So do I want to be hanging around for a double in 37 that doesn't come, for example? And we don't know with COVID if there'll be... I think there's been some activity in the game. My eyes are off the chat.
I've just got it passing around at the back with Liverpool.
What are we like timestamps at the moment? I'm 48:30 at the moment.
I'm 33, so I'm 2 seconds ahead of you. And City have the ball, and it's Gundogan on the edge of the box to Foden. Foden passes it out to Sterling. Sterling's on the angle on the left. Drifts into the box. It's Sterling, good feet. Foden, saved by Alisson. Gundogan, goal!
Yeah, come on!
Oh, get in. Get in.
There it is.
That is really nice play from Man City there. They almost created 3 opportunities. Like Sterling could have shot, didn't. Foden did, missed it, and then Gundogan was there to tap in.
It's a good save from Alisson. By the way, Robbo might have an injury here. Keep your eyes on Robertson. He doesn't look happy.
Just to clarify, it's going to go down Foden assist, I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
That's Sterling sometimes gets into those positions out wide, and I feel like he just always goes on his left and sort of goes for the cutback. But that's a really nice play. He goes on his right, feeds Foden. Foden should probably score, but it's a really good save from Alisson.
It is a good save. He reacts quickly from a hard shot that's 6 or 7 yards in front of him, gets a big strong left hand on it.
It's a really good left hand. Shame it falls to Gundogan's path, but Gundogan's sniper there. He's quicker than Robbo to react.
Yeah.
He did well because he's got a defender, I think that was Robbo, and the goalkeeper coming in. When you see the behind the goal angle, he's got to put some elevation on it, and he does.
Where does this leave us for Gundogan in BPS? Because he'll be on the minus points for the... I wonder if he'll be high. He won't be top because of the penalty miss, surely.
But he'll also get the winning goal if it stays like this, right?
Which goes on live, so he'll be given the winning goal now. And we've not got any defences clean sheet points on yet because we're under 60, so maybe he will be top.
Let me have a look at how much you lose for a penalty while you look up the current standings.
I don't think the goal's been put on yet.
Oh, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it. Gundogan's top on 3, Trent on 2, on 18, Gundogan 19.
Interesting. I mean, this is a dream scenario for you, Jan, isn't it? City keep a clean sheet and Gundogan scores because you'll have Stones coming in off your bench for Dyer.
Yeah. Oh, I need to double check that Matt Target is my 3rd sub. From memory, I've got Target 3rd sub. We obviously got a bonus, got 7. So I'm hoping Stones gets 7. Yeah.
He's definitely your 3rd sub. I know your team probably better than you do.
I've stopped looking at it, mate.
So
I'm wildcarded.
Missing a penalty is -6 BPS. Missing a big chance is -3. I'm guessing those don't get added together, so I'm guessing it is just -6 for missing a penalty. So that would, and is it 3 for winning goals? So that would obviously be a bigger hit.
Oh, Sterling is so close there. I don't know who puts the ball in on the left, but Sterling, if he can get there.
Oh yeah, Foden with a really great ball in.
Henderson has completely left him alone. You watch, they're both running in. Sterling just drifts off him, and Henderson is watching. Not unfairly, he's marking an area, watching the ball, but he completely lets Sterling go.
We've seen how fluid it is. First half, Foden was always in the number 9. This is a prime example where Foden's gone out to the left, Sterling down the middle, and they've stayed like that. And I think Pep probably said, move around a bit in your front 3. First half was very set by City, and they're not often like that. Foden was clearly the 9. There was no Bernardo Silva coming in and swapping. The wide men both stayed wide. Now we're seeing Foden left, Sterling in the middle, and that might change in a couple of minutes' time.
Oh, we've seen Pep be a bit more pragmatic in recent weeks, haven't we? We've seen him try a few things this season and maybe find just about what is working for him. And that's included things like, was it the Burnley match where he even just came out and said, I was happy just to take the 1-0. I don't think he's ever done that.
Yeah, and he played Laporte left back the other day and played sort of a back 3. Cancelo today, by the way, guys. First time in months I've seen him play right back.
Yeah, I was just thinking that actually. Like from an attacking point of view, he's offered basically nothing in this game, which you're kind of surprised to see, aren't you, given where he's been playing over the last few months.
The threat of Mane, I guess.
Yeah.
I love him in that you were mentioning the back 3, that thing that is a back 4 when they're defending, but becomes a back 3 with Laporte, Diaz and Stones, and then Cancelo becoming this almost... He's not playing right wing back. It's the second playmaker almost. Yeah. The thing maybe they're missing when De Bruyne isn't there.
Inside forward.
Gundogan left, Cancelo right. Yeah,
it's brilliant, and I really like it. I've studied it, and I couldn't believe that it was not seen by that many. And there's only one manager in world football doing that at the moment, and that's Pirlo. It's brilliant, and he's been doing it since day one, all season at Juve. He's gone with a back 3 in attack and a back 4 in defence. It's brilliant. It's check it out. Check out what Pirlo's doing at Juve. I mean, they're not turning up trees. They're doing well in the champs. Not so much in Serie A, but it's really interesting, the sort of formation, and it definitely works. If you've got very attack-minded fullbacks and you're willing to play one of them, it works. You don't need a back 4 in attack.
But he's been playing Chiesa at left wing back, hasn't he?
Chiesa right wing back, and we've seen Bernadeschi left wing back. I like it. I like wingers that can convert to wing back. Just to
Janet, have you ever played any sort of Serie A FPL?
Do you know what? I was thinking this when I was walking the dog the other day. There must be one, and I need to get on it. I'd love it. It'd be so much fun because I know there's the Scandinavian games. A lot on Twitter played the sort of Norwegian version, didn't they?
Yeah, you'd probably beat me at that one as well, to be fair.
It'd be nice to win for once.
Is that the only reason you asked, just to set him up for that?
Exactly. Yeah, that was it.
Have you tried playing a game you might win, Gianni?
It'd be boring though, because we'd all just captain Ronaldo every week, wouldn't we? Or maybe not actually. If there was a Spanish one, we'd all captain Messi every week. I mean,
Zlatan, Hakan Çalhanoğlu.
He's been amazing.
Scores and assists whenever he likes.
And have you seen his free kicks from 40 yards? One of his free kicks from 4 yards. He hits them clean. There's a few actually, because you look at the likes of I don't know, all over. There's a few star players that seem to just always get goals in this area. Oh, Liverpool on the edge of the box here. It's Curtis Jones with the shot. Blazes over. That Gundogan goal is nice.
Yeah. Is this if they weren't already, is this Liverpool out of the title race? They lose today?
They're already out.
Yep.
Yeah. Since Van Dijk got injured, they're out.
I say that flippantly, like they're not dead and buried for it. But I think realistically they would be relying on City, not even just winning today. They'd be relying on City stopping doing what they're doing. A bit like last year, City and everyone else was relying on Liverpool messing up, not necessarily them doing well themselves.
Guys, Salah before today has blanked 7 in 8. He's 12 point whatever million. He's constantly getting the armband. How's this guy still in all of our teams? And Seb, I'm going to come to you because I know he's not in your team or going to be for much longer.
I transferred him out for Rafinha for this week. We'll see how that goes. There's still a bit that's left. But the main reason, again, like I said, if I'm wildcarding, I did Salah to Rafinha and Robertson to Alonso. I figured, what could I just do for this 1 week that gives me a free hit at some good points and then wildcard out of it?
Is Salah part of your wildcard?
Not at the moment. We were saying earlier about those heavy hitters. I would keep Son. I would keep Fernandes. I would have Sterling to become De Bruyne. I don't think I would have Salah. Or if I did, it possibly wouldn't be immediately. I might feel like I need him for that double, but I'd want other players first.
Wow. After blanking the 7 and 8 Tobes, we don't know what he's going to do today. Are you thinking a way of getting funds for a KDB, a Kane? I mean, we've got a mate in our mini league that has benched Salah because of his current form. There's no point in owning him if he's ever going to come anywhere near your bench. You can't have 12.5 on your bench.
I mean, that is nuts. No, that is insane. But yeah, I mean, I think you'd be if it were to be announced that KDB was fit for the next game week, I think you'd be seeing a mass exodus to KDB from Salah, because that just feels like a very convenient move. Personally, it's just hard to get rid of Salah. Like, how badly he can punish you. Therefore, I probably don't look at it objectively. I look at it kind of romantically, and you think back to Salah when he's in form. And to be fair, it's very, very rare. I say it's very rare. It's unheard of for him to be in such bad form that he is. Yeah. And you're just always thinking he'll come out of it. Their fixtures aren't even that. Like the next two, Leicester away and Everton, tough fixtures. After that, he's got Sheffield United and Fulham, which are probably going to be... I don't think
will that form one of the double fixtures, Tobes?
Yeah, 26. So that will be 26. He'll have a double that I think will probably involve Sheffield United and Chelsea. I think Liverpool's double will be.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think...
Check out that chance, guys. Curtis Jones just goes past the post. That's close.
Oh yeah, that's a good chance.
I tell you, I really like Curtis Jones. I don't know if
this is too. Yeah.
I don't know if this is the match for him, but I would say after Saka, he's probably the best teenager in the league.
Yeah, well, I said to Jan that I'd rather have Curtis Jones in my team than Mason Mount.
I can't.
Well.
Is Hudson-Odoi a teenager still?
Yeah, he's 19, I think.
Okay.
Mason Mount's not.
Obviously, he's like 23.
Mount's about 25, isn't he?
20 on a bit. He's just turned 22. Hudson-Odoi I'm pretty sure is 19. I think his birthday is November.
Obviously, with Foden's 20, it would be Foden for me. But I think Saka is clear. He plays like a 26-year-old. He's amazing. But then Curtis Jones, it's a very different role. He's almost a progressive number 8. We're kind of seeing him there. He's played wide a little bit, but I really, really like him. I think if he keeps developing, there's a Liverpool midfielder for a generation there.
Yeah.
Hudson-Odoi, not a teenager, by the way. Fake news.
Did he turn 20 in November, Tobes? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew the month of the birthday.
Chelsea fan living in the past.
Shocked.
And Reece James isn't a teenager either. So yeah, neither is Mason. So I'm trying to think if we've got any teenagers that are playing for Chelsea, because we've got so many youngsters. I mean, Billy Gilmore will be a GOAT one day.
We had Dane Scarlett making his Premier League debut today.
I saw that. Interesting third sub.
Yeah, and I want to say 15. I've just looked at him now. 16. He was 16 in March. Imagine being 16 and playing Premier League football.
Oh, James Milner and Aaron Lennon both did.
Yeah. Wayne Rooney? Did Wayne Rooney? Or was he 18?
That goal for Everton against Arsenal, against Seaman, that made him famous. Was he 16?
He was 16. James Milner scored, I think it was like 2 weeks earlier, and had the record for youngest goal scorer at 16. And then a couple of weeks later, Rooney beat it. And then Rooney scored, was it Arsenal and then Leeds 2 weeks in a row when he was 16.
Did he? Gosh.
Yeah, it's really similar goals as well. If you look at Arsenal was the famous one, but he did a pretty similar thing against us the week later.
Ever there was a story of a man that's peaked early, Wayne Rooney is it, isn't it? Just he's had his whole career between like 16 and 27.
And Michael Owen.
Yeah, I was going to say like Owen. I get what you're saying. Do you think that's a bit harsh? I mean,
No.
Maybe, maybe he did peak early, but he did so much in that at the time that it almost feels like not peaking, just having a world-class career a bit early.
Euro 2004 for Rooney. He was probably early 20s, 22, 23, I can't remember, in Portugal. I remember watching him there going, this kid is just a man possessed. He was so good. That's from then, I can't remember him being ever being better than that.
Do you think the sort of move to trying to make him a midfielder hurt him and was done because he had to be moved backwards or because Man United needed him there?
No, I think
I feel like he's
Yeah, I do. I think they looked at his body type, they looked at his fitness, and when he can't play up front by himself, and the way the game was evolving from the 2 up front to 1 up front, which was around a similar time. Yeah, he was never going to be able to go long chasing balls up top. He's just not the right fitness levels, body. I mean, he was fit, but I couldn't see it. Don't know. I don't think United needed him there at all. He went there and wasn't that good.
Indeed. I mean, he had an okay passing range, but it was one of those, if you try a big long pass every 5 minutes and one of them comes off, that doesn't make you good at it.
I know. He did a couple of Paul Scholes diagonal balls, and all of Old Trafford stands up for his 50-yard diagonal. Do you remember at Unitobes? I say it all the time. Oh, it's Rooney with a diagonal, and everyone we're watching with goes, "What a great ball." I want to see goals and assists, mate. I don't care about those 50-yard ping Hollywood passes. And if you're playing centre mid, I want to see more than that. Unless your name's Andrea Pirlo, I need more.
I enjoyed how much you disliked Rooney. I didn't. I always quite liked Rooney, but I used to enjoy how much you disliked him verbally.
Yeah, guys, it is 1-0 Man City, and it's 61 minutes in. There's been very little in terms of chances in the second half, and Man City definitely look like the stronger team. But City are on the attack now, and it's Salah into the box, and he's gone down. That's never a pen. If he gives a pen against Diaz for that, Oliver points to the spot. VAR are going to look at it. Diaz yellow card. So possibly, okay, yellow card and penalty. I want to see the replay, but I thought that was soft.
Given the pen.
Yeah,
given the pen.
Given the pen.
Wow, that seemed pretty harsh.
Oh, his arm is on Salah. It's never a pen, but it's a pen by the law.
Oh, it's soft, isn't it? Yeah, I think.
Oh, Diaz. Just put your arms don't help you because he's going down anyway. That's my double clean sheet wipeout gone. Although Salah will take the pen, and we've all got Salah, other than Seb.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a -1 for Diaz owners as well, which
true.
every cloud.
Salah penalties this season. Graphic shows on the screen 5 and 5. He's gone to the keeper's right 4 of 5 times. That's our left as we look at it. So he's gone for the side foot into the far corner 4 of 5.
Case in point, though, here, like why you don't necessarily take Salah out, right?
I mean, miss.
I'm assuming he scores this, but which I don't know.
Yeah, he scored into roof for them.
Yeah,
he doesn't really miss pens, does he?
No, and I mean, not to be rubbing salt in the wound here, but obviously, if you're Seb right now, this is a painful one. Anytime Salah scores and you don't own him because he is such a widely owned asset, it just makes watching games with Salah in miserable and hard work and stressful, knowing that Liverpool have scored, it's probably going to be Salah. Boom.
Oh, very, very much so. But remove price tags from the equation.
Yeah.
I'll give you a 1 week pick on, what are the fantasy games where you pick a team for 1 week to win X amount of money?
Yeah.
Are you picking Salah or Rafinha against Crystal Palace?
Yeah, Rafinha all day long.
So seeing as I had 1 week, 2 transfers to use and I'm wildcarding, hey, it's probably not come off, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, no,
And we don't know till Monday. It might do. Rafinha only needs a goal.
I'm not convinced that's a penalty. I know it doesn't matter, but I just think that's really soft.
Yeah.
Like Gianni said, I guess letter of the law. He had his arm on him. He gave him a tug, and Salah went down like he'd been tripped. But fair enough. Salah's got to win the penalty if he can.
Not sure how that's a yellow card from the letter of the law. If he's the last man, it's a red card, but he's not the last man. So
isn't it? So it's double jeopardy. Oh no, because he's not making an attempt to play the ball, is he? So he could have been sent off. Is that right?
That sounds right. I'm not certain.
You can't be sent if the penalty is given. You cannot be sent off if you are making a genuine attempt to play the ball. Diaz wasn't making an attempt to play the ball. Therefore, I think he could have been sent off if the referee felt like he was denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, which it probably was, right?
It's almost like the ref has used a bit of common sense and gone, maybe it's a red because he's the last man. He's denying it, but it can't be a red because it's not even a pen. But
he's just terrified. He's just terrified after what's happened with Bednarek and thought, I'm just going to do something, the least controversial thing here. Yellow card, penalty, get on with it.
Alexander asking, he's obviously not watching, did Salah dive? Well, we won't say dive. He went down easy and he played him, but he's got every right to go down. He won the penalty. Yeah, he's got every right to go down and win the pen. And obviously Salah steps up and saves it. And there's loads that have got City defenders on the bench that are all very, very happy with that. Good decision, guys, if you did a bench a City defender. So,
I benched John Stones, but obviously played Eric Dyer, so John Stones will come in for Eric Dyer.
Exactly the same.
just not the one.
I have Eric Dyer, and he's not kept a clean sheet for me in God knows how long. Of Sod's law, the day Spurs keep a clean sheet, he's dropped. And yeah, I think I'll be selling him. And another reason why I might wildcard, because I've got a few fires like Eric Dyer. I don't have Pope. I don't have DCL.
Worrying as well for Dyer, we've got Sanchez, who, for my money, is one of the worst centre-backs in the Premier League and is getting starts ahead of Dyer, which is very concerning if you're a Dyer owner.
Yeah, one to check out who he plays in midweek and how they perform when he does. Sterling into the box here. Similar position where he created the goal from, but Liverpool got men behind the ball and looked fairly comfortable. Liverpool haven't really had a sniff this second half, and they've scored the goal. City definitely the more dominant team, and they are sort of keeping the ball well. No subs yet at 66 minutes for either team.
Yeah, just to re-ask my question earlier as well, if we assume that Liverpool go on and win this, is it still title? Are they still out of the title race, or are they back in it with a win here?
I can see them dropping so many points though. So even if they were to win today, I'm just not happy with necessarily some of the performances from some players, but also the squad at centre-back problems and stuff. And City are just a machine at the moment. So even if City were to lose, if they were to play well and lose, I'd still be backing City all day long.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's necessarily this match. Of course, Liverpool gaining 3 points on City and preventing them getting 3 would be big, but they need City to drop a fair few points elsewhere, which I don't think they're going to drop as many as Liverpool can gain on them.
City have got a game in hand, I think, on Liverpool as well. I think.
They've got the double. They've got 2 doubles. Liverpool will have 1.
Shaqiri, the bodybuilder, coming on for number 6. That's Thiago, isn't it?
Power Cube. They call him the Power Cube. They call him the Power Cube in Germany. Shaqiri. In German,
the Power Cube. Oh, Milner's coming on as well. I think that'll be Curtis Jones off for Milner. Milner's been getting quite a few minutes recently.
Another example, Shaqiri, of an absolutely sensational hair transplant.
He's up there, isn't he? He's really up there. I'd say he's up there with Andros for the best in the league.
Him and Andros, have smashed it.
Hey, maybe that'll be our halftime chat next Scoutcast match day. Do tune in.
Have you seen Shaqiri's calves? Everyone points at Grealish's calves. His calves are outrageous.
Yeah, he's absolutely wedge. He's definitely best calf in the league. If he had his socks rolled down like Grealish, we'd all be raving about him. Hey, this is the perfect minute of
next week on
Scoutcast match day. What's the timestamp? Going on to Salah, and we sort of said about Seb looking to sell on a wild card. Seb, any chance you will keep him in a wild card just for that double that might involve Sheffield United?
Like I said, I probably wouldn't have him for the 24-25 games, but then might bring him back for 26. Yeah. That penalty doesn't really change anything. No. I know Salah is Liverpool's penalty taker, and I know they haven't stopped winning penalties, so that didn't really prove anything for me.
In terms of value, I think Salah's at sort of in terms of points per million. Yeah, good shot from the edge of the box. I think it was. I think he's like 57th or 59th Salah in terms of points per million. Like he's on well down. Sterling does well on the left. Beats Trent, and he's had the beating of Trent since on that left. And it's the half volley. Is it Gundogan or Bilva? I think it's Bilva.
It's Bilva.
Looked close in real time, but I think it's quite far wide.
On that point though, Jan, like a lot of people, and I think justifiably, have talked a lot about KDB this year, right, as being not good value at 11.5, 12, whatever it is at the moment. And yeah, you can point to that, can't you, and say he hasn't really performed. Certainly, I think he was a leading point scorer last season in the game, wasn't he? And hasn't quite lived up to that this year. But yeah, they're still just two players, aren't they? That can absolutely murder your overall rank if you don't own them.
I will say that De Bruyne is second to Bruno Fernandes for XGI for the season as well, whereas Salah is not. He's up there.
Yeah.
De Bruyne, I would say, has been a factor of poor luck more than, say, Salah has.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Or poor finishing, you take your choice.
Yeah, fair point.
I was thinking the same. Where I'm at with some of the big names in terms of if I can see myself selling them, it's what some of those underlying numbers might say. And KDBs have just been there all season. So I've been very faithful to him and had the armband on him a huge amount, and it's not worked out. But I do see that decision as fairly unlucky. Foden draws the foul from Fabinho here. Is that going to be a yellow card?
It's the most yellow card I think I've ever seen in my life. Just totally skins him and then just rugby tackles him down.
We've had a question from Shenzoi. Who is Bilva? Okay, so Bilva is Bernardo Silva because we had a Dilva last season in David Silva. So for convenience, Tobes and I only refer to them as Dilva and Bilva. And we've also got a
Filva, haven't we, as well now?
City free kick here. I think there might have been a bit in action. So it's Gundogan that's going to take it. So we could be seeing what might be a Gundogan assist here. Gundogan, oh no, he plays it short to Foden. It's going to be Foden that crosses it in. Oh wow. It's John Stones. Is that John Stones?
Oh, go on.
Oh, has it been ruled out? Hello. Okay. It's John Stones' goal. This is going to go to VAR. It's a Foden assist.
It looked like if that was Diaz in front of him, might have been offside, but I don't know if Stone was. Just on first sighting.
Okay, I think Diaz is clearly off, but I think Stones is too. Oh, no, Stones isn't, because Stones is at the back.
Oh, Stones he might be. That's not the best angle for it, is it?
There's two in front of Stones. One is way ahead. Diaz is a little bit offside, just ahead of Stones. I think it's Rodri and Diaz, clearly off. Interesting. Pep is looking to make a substitute, regardless of the scoreline. It's 1-1 as it stands. We haven't seen the VAR replay, so presumably there is not one. And Jesus is coming on.
Does that mean they've just agreed that it's offside? Did the linesman flag?
We need to see the replay. I don't know if the flag must have gone up because it wasn't given.
Everyone seems like remarkably okay with it, like not being a goal, whereas it seemed really tight on first view.
Unless they're going with, I think it's Rodri, who's 5 yards offside. Unless they're going with him interfering.
Which would be a very bad call based on how they've dealt that rule so far this season.
I don't understand here how Man City are making a substitution before we've seen the VAR.
That makes me think that they've all just agreed that it's offside and they're getting on with it.
Probably.
Maybe we've not quite seen. I'd like another angle. Maybe it is an obvious one. From what I saw, it didn't look obvious. But
okay, Michael Rogers, 5 of them offside. I don't think John Stones was, and the others don't matter. Offside. Loads of people saying clearly off. I don't see that at all. Really interesting.
Other people might have seen it differently. Fair enough.
I think though there has been some additional action beyond that.
Okay. We've got Liverpool passing the ball around. Really annoying that for John Stones owners like me who have got him coming off the bench. Alisson's got the ball at his feet. What's he doing? Oh! Fabinho clears it. Fine. Okay. No. Fine. Zinchenko, ball to Bilva. Bilva on the edge of the box. Gundogan off his knee. Fabinho back to Alisson. Alisson's kicking is shocking. Again to Foden. Foden's with space in the area. Foden's in. Pulls it back. Gundogan tap in. Goal.
Oh, come on. Gundo again.
Come on, Gundo!
Oh, it's a good goal.
What's Alisson been doing with those kicks?
Yeah, he's had a mare.
He didn't look confident there. I know. Was he stepped someone a couple of years ago really nicely. It was the little dink, wasn't it? He dinked it over someone, which was amazing. But it's the opposite there. He's just looked stuck on his feet and not knowing what to do with it.
I'll tell you what an absolute roller coaster Gundogan's having in this game.
Yeah, it'll be on for 3 bonus now. We're fine with that miss. The clearance is there from Fabinho, from Alisson. Foden's footwork in the box there, guys. Really nice. Wait till we see the replay for this goal. Foden intercepts it from the edge of the box. Takes on 2 players. Could go down for a penalty. Left foot, little dink. Straight to Gundogan for an easy finish. But it's Henderson. Doesn't want to commit the foul, Hendo, does he? So he kind of lets him go.
Yeah.
Another Man City cutback tap-in goal, which if Pep had his way, he would only score those goals.
Yeah, I mean, Sterling's made a career from it. Interestingly enough, Gundogan almost missed. It comes in off the bar.
Gundogan did his best to miss that one.
The cutback goal, the tap-in, I'd love to see the percentage of Sterling goals that are scored from those cutbacks. He's made living from it.
And for the record, I don't mean that to his discredit.
No, it's great
He's
movement.
Incredibly good off the ball, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we forget that with Sterling, and we all give him stick for not hitting the ball clean, and we all sometimes wonder why he's nailed in this team and nailed for England and why he earns so much a week. There isn't many better at moving in behind the right fullback than Sterling.
I think Seb said it a couple of weeks ago, right? He's probably pretty ordinary on the ball, but off the ball he is levels, like so good, which is exactly the type of player that City need. Given the amount of chances that they create, he's gonna get returns, that's completely to his credit.
Yeah, there's no one better at going in behind, and if you've got someone like a KDB playing with him that can put those balls in, it's the perfect system. I'd agree. I think he's probably pretty low down in terms of on the ball for the City attacking players, but off the ball he's number one, head and shoulders.
This is as the template goes in FPL. This is actually pretty great for anyone. Obviously, Gundogan owners laughing, Salah owners you're laughing. Not so great, obviously, if you've got a double up at the back, but probably most don't. Probably most have benched one City defender this week. I mean, yeah, you're very happy, aren't you, as a Salah and Gundogan owner right now?
Yeah, true.
I want to see people who captained Gundogan.
Oh, yeah. I think something else has happened. But again, I don't know which way. I genuinely don't know which way it's gone.
I'm bloody hoping it's City.
Got Liverpool on the attack here, so although City have won it back, haven't they?
Yeah, I've got Cancelo with it at right back with the ball. He plays in Foden. I tell you what, it's Bilva looking like he's sort of likely to win the ball here. No, Fabinho passes it back to Alisson. Alisson and Fabinho's kicking. Just clear it. They're passing it around between them. Little neat triangles. Get rid Alisson. Oh, he's giving it away again. Bilva pulls it back. 2 yards away, Raheem Sterling for the tap-in.
No Gundogan.
I've just seen that. Yeah, what's he done?
It's another pullback.
What are they doing?
Lovelily found by Bernardo Silva, by the way. Though he dinks that. There's Liverpool do quite well to cut it off, and that's all he's got. He does brilliant.
I tell you what, Sterling hasn't gone with the big "won't celebrate against my old club" thing, has he?
I think he's done that before against Liverpool as well. I was just going to say before we knew there was a goal, Sterling has played really well today, and he's had the beating of Trent all day. And watch Trent's movement here. Watch it, marking Sterling. Trent doesn't realise who's at the back stick.
This is exactly what we were just saying, right? Sterling's movement off the ball here. I mean, everyone will go, "Oh, it's a Sterling tapping from half a yard out," but that him getting there is and seeing that
he anticipates the fact that whoever's got it is going to be playing him in for a tap-in.
So I love bashing Trent's defensive abilities as much as the next person.
Yeah, I've got the wrong man.
But he's following Jesus there. I think he does. Okay, cool.
Yeah, fair. He is. I thought when I saw that, I thought that Jesus was Sterling in the build-up. But yeah. But
like you say though, Sterling appearing at that far post with no one marking him. We're just talking about his movement.
Yeah, and why is Trent marking? I need to see the build up again, but I don't know why Trent is on Jesus. Is that a communication problem to go? Who's marking my man? Who's on? Why are you not on Sterling? Or why don't we swap? I don't know.
I guess if we think where the goal came from, they aren't necessarily set up to be marking their men, are they? They're looking to push up the pitch. So the midfielders have probably gone in anticipation of it being worked out wide, which is what I think Alisson and Fabinho were trying to do.
Yeah. Hey, Seb, if you're on a wild card, Sterling, if he's rested in the weeks, because he's in form, and Gundogan for the double up, as we were talking about early.
So I was just thinking, because I'd kind of just gone, keep Cancelo, keep Stones or Diaz and be happy. It's tempting, isn't it?
I'd be on one City defender all day long on a wild card.
The reason I mostly haven't thought about it is there's just so many other good midfielders as well, though. If I want Rafinha from Leeds for our double, if I want, to hold on to Salah or hold on to Son or have Bruno Fernandes, there aren't many spots left.
If you go with one City defender though, you could go double Burnley defence, who have got amazing fixtures in player back three. I don't think Ben Mee over, Cancelo, I don't think Ben Mee's going to lose your points with those fixtures in the next 5.
I could keep Alonso, and I really like that idea.
I love that idea of keeping Alonso. He's so good. The upside. In terms of goals for defenders, I ran the numbers the other day. No one in the Premier League has scored anywhere near the amount of goals of Alonso in the last few seasons. He's getting 6 or 7 goals a season.
He'll lose minutes to Chilwell, you would think, but maybe it's a bit of a Cancelo one where I just take some of those and take the ones where he scores points.
And when he loses them, he won't play the 90. He won't play at all, so you won't get those 1 minute cameos.
Do you reckon that's what I was wondering? Because I think did he come off at the bench for Chilwell, or was it Pulisic or someone who came off the other day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And with those inside forwards and loads of them, the Ziyech's, the Pulisic's, the Werners, the subs will be in those positions. And then in centre mid with Kante, Kovacic, Jorginho, I don't think we'll see Alonso Chilwell sharing minutes during a game. I just don't see it.
Did you guys see the graphic that just popped up? I think Sterling is now the 3rd highest goal scorer under Pep in Pep's career. So only Messi and Aguero.
Aguero, of course, yeah. Okay, yeah. He has really made Sterling a better player, isn't he? We can't underestimate Pep's influence on that kid.
Yeah, I mean that's what people talk about, isn't it? That they're like Pep does improve players. You look at you can look at pretty much most players. Like, the only person I'd probably look at who's currently on the pitch who I don't think he's improved is Jesus. Like, every time I see Jesus play,
Fair.
I just think, I'm just waiting for him to become this like unbelievable world beater, and I'm never really ever kind of blown away by it. Even when he gets a couple of goals here and there, I just think, yeah.
I feel like I must be wrong on Jesus because Pep likes him, I think, but I don't think I've ever seen him do anything good other than score tap-ins. And I know we were just talking about Sterling's tap-in, so there is some credit there. And I know he scored 1 or 2 good goals, but that seems to be what he offers.
His conversion rate's poor.
Yeah. But I mean, Pep likes him, so there must be something else there. I know he works hard off the ball and everything.
Is it his movement, Seb? Obviously, working hard off the ball is great, but there's a lot of average footballers that can do that. Is it his movement like Sterling? Are we just late to seeing it because we've not watched him and studied him enough? With Sterling, we have, and we can go, his movement off the ball is brilliant. It works the Pep system. Maybe Jesus offers the same, and we've not seen it because we've not been looking. I don't know.
I mean, you'd think so. We were just talking about how Sterling scores those tap-ins and because of his movement. So it would feel hypocritical of me not to say that Jesus has good movement because he also scores tap-ins. But I feel like you say, his conversion rate is poor and he maybe offers a little less to the side.
Yeah.
Also, with Aguero being out, we've seen them earlier in the season struggling to score. And I know Jesus didn't always play, but I don't know if he was moving that well early in the season. He wasn't getting many chances.
Tobes, one for you here. Can't believe I benched Salah in DCL. You boys have let me off this week. Who do you reckon that's from?
Is it from someone I know?
Yeah, someone you know really well. He benched Salah and DCL, and he's just behind you in our mini league.
Yeah, is it Banger by any chance?
Banger is in the chat. Hello, Banger.
You're in good company, Banger, because I did the exact same thing.
I just noticed, interestingly, Trent Alexander-Arnold is on for 1 bonus point currently, and he's conceded 3.
Jeez.
And I think there might be a chance that he's just conceded a 4th as well.
And he's not got an assist or a goal. So what is going on with the BPS there? I did say he's been really advanced today and putting some good balls ahead of Robbo. City on the attack here. It's Gundogan on the halfway line. If we think there is a goal, who's going to get it? Gabriel Jesus is on the ball now. Edge of the area. Jesus wearing gloves. Sterling on the left. Little 1-2 with Jesus. It's neat passing. It's back to Gundogan.
I'm fully expecting a Jesus 40-yarder, of course, now.
We've got everything wrong today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, it's back to Jesus on the edge of the box. Who's he looking for? He plays it out wide to Foden. Foden now on the right-hand side. Again on the right. Foden.
Cancelo playing centre mid there.
Oh, wow.
Foden. There we go.
Check this goal from Foden.
Oh, what a goal.
Ooh.
He's taken the net off.
He's better. He's better out wide. He's been playing left for so many weeks. He's playing on the right now. So much better than in the number 9 slot.
This is a bit of a statement now, isn't it? This result. This is. I don't think many people were going to go with a 4-1. This is like ominous for the rest of the Premier League.
-2 for Liverpool defenders now as well. Well, your Robbo owners, you're on 0.
Yeah, that's probably taken Trent out of the bonus points as well, I'd have thought.
I don't know how he was in it.
It's a really good goal, isn't it?
Oh,
it's really good.
It's not even in the corner. It goes through his hands because he hits it so hard.
Yeah, but it's how quickly he shifts it and hits it, which is key. And it's too much power. Alisson can't get near it.
Should Alisson save it, Tobes? He ducks a bit, doesn't he?
I want to say, in that situation, if a keeper saves it, you're like, wow, it's a really, really good save. And yeah, I think there are keepers in the world that do save that, if we're being really critical.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen Alisson perform this poorly in a Liverpool shirt. If we're looking at 2 goals from bad clearances, playing around, he's very good with his feet. Oh, Edison's wagging his finger at Michael Oliver. He's getting quite in his face. Careful, Edison. There's no need for that.
I think Trent like followed through like a little bit into him where he sort of didn't need to, and we're going to see a replay of it now. But yeah, Edison didn't like. Here we go. Trent. Ooh, it's maybe a bit naughty from Trent. There's nothing in it really.
That is a man who's losing 4-1 to title rivals and
Correct.
isn't having a good time, you know.
And it's not having a good season.
Correct. Yeah.
Edison,
I mean, there's nothing particularly naughty in it. He's just, he's a competitive footballer. He's not having a great time and he's showing it.
If that was Mike Dean, he would have given Edison a yellow for going up to his face like that. You can't do that to a ref.
And probably sent Trent off.
First he would have gone over to the pitchside monitor for 5 minutes.
So obviously Salah scored the penalty today, so my bad. But otherwise, I feel like people who made the decision to remove Liverpool players, probably a decent call.
Yeah, if you removed Robbo in the last few weeks, you've done all right. I can't remember the last time he got a clean-o. He's been subbed off now. So the City goals have come from Foden, Gundogan 2. Who was the other one?
Sterling.
Great. And
two of them probably slight, well worked, but slight gifts from Alisson and Fabinho, and 2 really well worked goals from City.
Chelsea team news in 2 minutes. I forgot about the time there. I think it's a 7:15 kickoff, isn't it? I will be bringing you that up straight away.
That's a bonus. I had absolutely no idea there was another game after this one.
Yeah.
Emily's going to be delighted.
0 FPL interest though. You might be able to take one off. In terms of the BPS in this game, I think we've got Gundogan topping it. We should have Gundogan topping it, although Foden might be in and amongst it now because didn't he get an assist as well? Yeah, Foden's on 2 assists and a goal, and Gundogan is tied at the top with Foden, and then Sterling for 1. So it's a 2-horse race for 3 bonus. Gundogan and Foden. Nice.
I mean,
any Foden owners in the chat, let us know. If you're on Foden,
it's a difficult one, isn't it?
I think Flapjack's on Foden, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about Foden though? He's just such a. I mean, you can levy rotation risk on a lot of City's players, but Foden is a genuine rotation risk.
Not in the last 5 weeks, though, is he? Let's have a look at his minutes recently. I think that's good.
Without looking, I would suggest that every 10 games City play, Foden's playing 6 or 7 of them.
I think it's a bit higher than that, but with KDB coming back, maybe there's more chance going forward he gets rotated.
I don't know, because he's not played in a midfield 3 all season. He's considered a front 3, and that shouldn't affect KDB, although you could argue that affects Bilva and then Bilva's a front 3.
Yeah, that's exactly that.
Okay. But even then, I don't know. I think Foden's on fire at the moment.
Off the top of my head, he's missed like 1 Premier League game in quite a while. He's played a lot of them, a lot more than we'd expected maybe a few months ago when he was getting rotated a lot. But I don't know how much that ties in with the KDB injury. Based on performance, you don't drop him, do you?
No, not at all. And it'll be interesting to see if he's rested against Swansea. Chelsea team news. Mendy, Azpilicueta, Christensen and Rudiger. That looks like a back 3 to me. Reece James is in the team. And Chilwell starts. Sorry, Seb. There's no Alonso.
There we go.
Kovacic in the middle with Jorginho. It's the 2 he likes. And it's the front 3 of Mount, Werner and Giroud today. So he's gone with no Hudson-Odoi, he's gone with Reece James. Reece James and Alonso are the wing-backs. The back 3 as we expect with Thiago out. Of course, Mason Mount, the only player to play the last 3. I think that makes it. And Aspi and Rudiger.
I'm surprised to see no Ziyech still.
Yeah, Ziyech is on the bench. So is Hudson-Odoi, so is Kante. Alonso is on the bench. Tammy's also on the bench. So yeah. Also, no Kante. He liked Kovacic-Jorginho partnership a lot. Tuchel.
Just to go back to Foden very quickly as well, the last 10 games, he has only started 6 of them. And also in one of those that he did start, he was hooked on 51. So to me, that isn't enough.
Is that Premier League games?
No, fair enough.
That's Premier League games. Yeah, he started 6 out of the last 10.
What's the last 5 though? Because I reckon it's 5. Or was it 4?
Last 5, he started 4 out of 5.
Okay. So
he didn't play against, but he didn't even get on against Burnley in the last game. So
maybe the KDB injury has massively impacted his minutes with Bilba.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, he's certainly the last 10. He's played a hell of a lot more minutes in the last 10 than he did the 10 before that.
Yeah. I owned him early this season and just couldn't deal with the stress of in or out. But I think back then he was playing 50%, starting 50%. If he's now on 60, 70, does that make him more of an option? Because he's so cheap in FPL and he's playing in a front three. So yeah,
it's still difficult though to look past the City double up at the back plus Gundogan, isn't it? It's really hard to, I think, make a strong, like Gundogan again today, another 2 goals, should have had a hat trick with a missed penalty for 5.5 million. Why go Foden?
Probably overthinking it, and also those slots are so difficult to fill in the midfield. Do we have the space to commit 2 of them to City? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Did you say Alonso was on the bench, Gianni?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, I need him to stay there. I've got Kilman on my bench, so
okay.
I would have a clean sheet if Alonso doesn't play.
Is there a good chance of that happening? Alonso staying put?
Well, I did say that I didn't think they'd be sharing minutes, but I also said Alonso was nailed to start because of Sheffield United's physicality, and the reason Tuchel said after the Burnley game, I played Alonso today. This was the first time Alonso had started in months. Was because Burnley are so physical and we need that extra height in the box. And I thought against Sheffield United he did the same. But Chilwell needs some minutes, I guess, and he's looking at maybe the FA Cup as a time to put Alonso back in. It'll be an interesting one.
Is that going to be Chelsea playing a back 5 or like wing backs again? Is Chilwell going to play wing back or is it back 4?
No, it's definitely a back 3 again because Asby's in. When Azpilicueta plays, you know he's right centre back. So it'll be Christensen and Rudiger. And then I don't like saying with Tuchel even ever a back 5 because his wing backs are just the highest you will see in the league. No wing back will be higher than Chelsea wing backs under Tuchel. Although, with it not being Alonso, with it not being Hudson-Odoi, maybe they're a little bit deeper today. Chilwell and Reece.
It might be. I mean, it's hard to judge after not seeing much of him. The Spurs-Chelsea game. I know obviously Chelsea won. Spurs were really poor. I didn't actually think Chelsea were that good on the day. They didn't. They obviously 1-0 penalty. Really create a huge amount. Like I didn't get the impression that Tuchel's going to be playing this like free-flowing, like aggressive, high tempo pressing football, winning the ball high up the pitch, creating a lot of chances. It felt like they completely controlled the game from like 0 to 90 minutes, but it was all about having possession a lot of it in their own half, knocking the ball around, being quite patient, not very direct. I thought that was an interesting observation. Don't know if that's like the style that Tuchel plays, but yeah, it didn't seem to me to be like they're going to be flooding forward playing like Liverpool and City type football. I don't know what you think.
It's hard to judge. I mean, you can only play what's in front of you. I mean, we're watching Man City bulldoze Liverpool today. It was only a few weeks back they had a scrappy victory against Cheltenham Town 3-2. I mean, the result you can only play what's in front of you, and Tuchel without the time on the training ground to nail his team. I think it's hard to tell. I think there was always another gear we could go into in that game. What was really interesting from a tactical point of view, and those in the chat might be interested to know, it's very much a back 5 and a front 5 and an attacking 5. You look at the way Tuchel plays, because it's a back 3, but with 2 holding midfielders, Jorginho and Kovacic are like part of the back 5, and then you've got your wing backs and all your forwards, and it's quite exciting to just see that. And I was watching it at the Premier League and their analysis post-match, they did an hour on it to see how it lines up in their attacking movements. It's a front 5 and a defensive 5, and there's almost nothing in between, and I'm really interested to see how that evolves for Tuchel. I don't know what your observation is, Seb, of what Chelsea have looked like under him.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add, to be fair. It reminds me a little bit of Sarri, with not a hugely similar shape. I know sort of 3-4-3, sort of similar, but maybe slightly different roles in there, especially the wing backs.
Same difference, yeah.
Which works, those 2 players in those sort of double 6 works. I think when Kante's fit, he could probably do that job as well. I think we said we didn't know where Mount would fit. He's done very well in that inside forward, almost number 10 role. His stats so far this season have picked up massively too. He's doing really, really well. So I think maybe it just takes a little bit of time to gel, right? Using Timo Werner in the right way, working out who his striker is, and then maybe we see a bit more going forward. But it's been encouraging from a defensive point of view.
Yeah, it really has. Interestingly, Mason Mount, when he was speaking to Premier League TV, so you may not have seen this if you're watching in the UK to Sky or BT or whoever had the game. He actually said in his post-match, I was having to pick up number 9 roles, and Tuchel was asked me to play as a false 9 when Werner drifts left. So when Werner is the 9, as he was against Spurs, Werner drifts left. Mount was playing in the number 9 role, and I didn't realise it when I was watching it. And I was thinking, Jesus, this season he's played as a 6, an 8, a 7, an 11, a 10, and now a 9. This kid is the most versatile player in England, and he's picked all the time. I love him so much.
Most versatile player in England. Stuart Dallas disagrees with you.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, he has. Stuart Dallas has played number 2, number 3, number 8, number 4.
Stuart Dallas has played right back, left back, centre mid, right wing, and left wing.
Oh, okay.
Waiting for him to play up front.
I think Dallas wins.
I didn't know about the centre back. Not in the Premier League, he hasn't, has he?
I don't think in the Premier League, but he did it for us last year.
I mean, Mount played in goal in training once. Can I claim that?
I've got full time.
Yep.
Yeah. 4-1.
Wow.
Impressive from City. Maybe gifted slightly by Liverpool's defending, but they didn't offer a huge amount more beyond the penalty. Couple of little chances, but City's match.
I think Gundogan has just clinched the 3 bonus points as well. I've got him on 45 with Foden 44 currently.
I've got Foden at 45.
Oh, okay, maybe.
And I've got Gundogan at 45 as well.
Yeah, I'm refreshing now. It's telling me Foden 44. I don't know whether mine's lagged or yours has lagged.
Okay. It looks like, I mean, it's definitely a 2-horse race because after that, you got Sterling at 35.
Well, we saw today, didn't we? Son's bonus points changed hugely about 15, 20 minutes after the game. He was nowhere near and out of nowhere shot into 2.
Do you know what that was for, Tobes? So he got...
It was passes, wasn't it? 30 passes.
He got to 30 passes with an 85% completion or higher, and that gives him +4.
Yeah, my man.
Thank you, great guys, says Gio. Thank you guys for watching. Guys in the chat, thank you for being so interactive, and do... please like this video, but please, if you don't already, and surely you have to by now, subscribe to this channel. Do comment as well. Really interested to get your feedback. We of course do one of these every match day. We've given you 3 in the last week. Hopefully you've enjoyed them. Tobes and Seb have been with me the entire time, and I really appreciate your efforts, guys. Thank you. We'll be back again next week. There still seems like there's loads more to chat about, but our 2 hours has come to an end. So we'll be back again for Game Week 24, where we'll have some doubles in there as well. So look forward to it. Seb, thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
When can we catch you on Scoutcast this week? Because we can see your wildcard team then.
Tuesday I think we are this week.
So we might see some drafts.
I'm planning to put forward like a draft and what I'm planning, but obviously it'll change based on FA Cup results.
So do check that out, guys. Tuesday. Tobes, you'll hopefully be back with us on Scoutcast Match Day next week.
Yeah, if I'm invited back, I'll be there. Thank you for having me again. Nice to be watching a game with so many goals in it.
If you breach that top 20k, which it looks like you're going to this game week, Tobes, I don't think you will be invited back. I cannot take it anymore. We'll see you next week. Good stuff, guys. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon. Great. Thanks.